This breaking news just into the Fox newsroom. The FBI disrupting this alleged plot targeting the UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House. Officials telling Fox a network of nearly 24 potential plotters were identified, with at least 5 people in custody right now. The suspects allegedly traveled to Fredericksburg, Virginia to make final preparations for the attack. And the alleged plan allegedly included explosive-packed drones hitting buildings near the event, forcing a mass evacuation, and then steering crowds, get this, toward a pre-staged sniper team. A second wave was then planned to storm the White House gate. The FBI first learned of the threat on June 10th and worked with law enforcement across multiple states to stop it. FBI Director Kash Patel saying, quote, "We are built to detect, respond to, and bring to justice those who threaten the lives of American citizens, particularly during large gatherings like the historic UFC 250 fight." That's exactly what we did here. Over 4,300 people were in attendance for UFC 250, which included 1,200 service members. Luckily, nobody was harmed during the FBI's takedown. The event went off without a hitch.
Hey there, of course, the president is here, and he's got his Secret Service detail with him as well. He's surrounded by world leaders, so security is of the utmost importance. We just got a brand new statement from the U.S. Secret Service. This is actually from the director, Sean Curran, on what happened at the White House, or what they prevented from happening at the White House. And he writes this: "Our most important responsibility is safeguarding the president and every person under Secret Service protection. The U.S. Secret Service worked closely with the FBI throughout this investigation. In the days leading up to this weekend, our special agents, mission support personnel, and the technical security teams worked around the clock to identify those responsible and hold them accountable." He continues to say, "Equally important to our protective mission is ensuring accountability through the justice system. To that end, our formal comments regarding the specifics of this case will be made through court filings." So they're going to contribute to the case that is being made against all of these people that have been arrested now, this large group of people that were a part of this situation that has now been foiled. But again, re-emphasizing that security is extremely high here, especially in France, where the president is now with the other G7 leaders. I'm told that 16,000 French soldiers or troops and police officers are safeguarding the area.
Got a potential nightmare scenario stopped in its tracks. The FBI and its law enforcement partners disrupting an alleged plot targeting this past weekend's UFC Freedom 250 event. Officials say nearly 24 plotters were identified, with 5 people now in custody. The investigation stretching across at least a dozen FBI field offices. Chris Wecker, former FBI assistant director, with us now, and sir, good day to you. We're told that one person was picked up in Cincinnati, don't have any identifications or any other locations. What do you make of this thus far?
Yeah, so we do know about 5 arrests. Allegedly, there are 23 or so plotters here. So we probably won't get more details, because they're conducting operations as we speak, involving those 20 plus other co-conspirators. So we'll see how, these 4 or 5 will have to have their first appearance within 48 hours, at which time the arrest warrant affidavit will have to be unsealed, and then we'll have some real details about how this got started. It was a lightning operation. The FBI apparently got information on June 10th, and between now and those 3 or 4, 5 days there, they did a multi-field office investigation across the country and identified the other plotters. We'll see how many of them were actually involved and how much real capability was there. There are a lot of issues that'll be accompanying this prosecution. Will all 23 be arrested? Conspiracy is really punished the conspiracy and the agreement to commit the crime. So all 23 don't have to do anything. They need at least, or they have to be a part of the agreement, but they only need one overt act towards commission of the crime. So it's going to get interesting over the next couple of days. But the scariest part of this really is the drones. We just don't have an answer to drones in our domestic environment here.
Right.
And that type of attack is my greatest fear.
But this is very scary. We learned about this, about 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, in the middle of our show.
Sure.
Why do you think they're telling us this? Because I know there's a lot going on behind the scenes with the FBI.
Sure.
We don't always find out. Why do you think they're telling us this now? And what's your reaction?
Well, I think they're telling us because the scale of the planned attack is so significant. And I think it's important for us to be as transparent as we can be about these ongoing investigations. We want to tell the American people what's going on, of course. But I actually just heard about it this morning myself. And so this is a very, very dark stuff. And unfortunately, we were talking about this a little bit off camera, but this is what happens when people turn the rhetoric up so loud that disagreeing with somebody is a cause for violence. That's the place that we've come to, unfortunately, with too much of our political rhetoric. We got to tell everybody to tone it down. And I hate to say this, but it's true. You see more political violence and violent rhetoric coming from the left than the right these days. Everybody has a role to cut this stuff out. But I think a lot of my Democratic colleagues in Washington have got to look themselves in the mirror and say, why is so much of this political violence coming from our side of the spectrum? Maybe they can do something different.
So, good afternoon, everybody. Craziness, absolute insanity is now becoming the norm. The Democrats have allowed it to become the norm. We can't let it become the norm. The radical left, they're never going to stop. There was another story, I posted it on X earlier. Excuse me, they found a guy who was burning crosses. And they tried to say it was a white supremacy thing, and ends up being a gay socialist who wants to get rid of Trump, wants to get rid of MAGA. They will never stop. Many of us who still hold on to some sort of unification hope that we're going to come together, you're putting yourself in danger by even thinking that. They're never going to quit. We have a hate group, a hate party existing in America, the entire party. They won't condone it. They will continue saying all the crazy stuff that they will. And now we find out that one of the biggest events in American political history, or American history in general, they had a deviant plan to kill people. It kind of reminded me of what happened in Las Vegas, but this was actually going to be worse. They aimed it at the heart of the White House during President Trump's UFC Freedom 250 event on the South Lawn. This is going to carry more charges as well, because if you try to kill the president, you might be swinging from a rope. And who knows, there were all kinds of people there in our government, in addition to the military. And we can just go on because nobody's life is worth more than anybody else's, but Melania was there. These clowns wanted to turn a celebration of freedom into a bloodbath. Let that sink in. They chose an anniversary celebration of the United States of America. That's where they wanted to make their statement. They wanted to turn this into just something that was gruesome and horrible. Think of what he said about the details. They were going to fly drones in, excuse me, blow stuff up, which would make, mass hysteria, and they were going to force people into a certain area and then have snipers just picking people off as they ran. Maximum warfare? Rhetoric? I don't think it's rhetoric anymore. I think J.D. Vance is wrong. I don't believe it's rhetoric. I believe we're looking at instructions at this point. I think we're looking at game plans. I think this is a strategy for losers. Because right now, you have to realize they can't win. Ignore the media, ignore the polls, they can't win. The last thing they had was the economy. Oh my God, people are the po peoples. They can't afford groceries. They can't afford to eat. They can't afford to drive. Well, gas is going to be lower than it was before the war, probably by tomorrow. The economy is booming. People are making money. Are there people hurting? Yes, but there will always be people hurting. That's the part they don't talk about. There's always going to be a certain segment of the population that just is having issues. It is what it is. The Democrats don't want anybody to have any issues instead of realizing that's life. Does that sound cold? Sorry. Some people are going to be dishwashers, and I hope they can be the best damn dishwashers that they are. But now they want to kill because they have been told, they have been instructed, this is what we need to do to make everybody a part of this warm collectivism. I want what you got. I'm entitled to what you have, and I'm going to take what you have, and you maggots better get ready for it. This wasn't some lone nut job. This was coordinated. Whether or not they had the capacity to pull it off, whether or not they had the weaponry to pull it off, whether or not they had the smarts to thinking that they wouldn't get found out, nonetheless, it was extremely well coordinated. Explosive-laden drones to blow up the area, create panic, flush the crowd right into sniper fire, as if they know how to be snipers. Then a second wave was going to storm the White House gates. Some sort of suicide mission. I guess they don't understand that guys guarding the and ladies guarding the White House would have come out of everywhere. But they had it all planned. They were using these encrypted signal chats. Up to 23 different people involved. Anti-capitalist radicals, the usual suspects, commies, MAGA haters, Trump haters, folks who hate success, hate strong men, hate real Americans, hate this country. People were enjoying an event in the hot summer evening. The Weather Channel tried to basically stage an attack. We are constantly being made to feel this way. And if you don't have a Glock on your hip or some sort of protection, depending on where you live, you are now obviously taking life into your own hands. 5 of these people, these animals, are in custody. Thank God for Kash Patel and Sean at the Secret Service and the rest of the FBI. They're actually doing their work. Man, I don't know where we go from here. I don't know how we can just every single day, it seems, find out somebody is trying to do something from within. Domestic terrorism. Do you know how this guy got caught? Or one of the guys got caught? In case you haven't heard it, let me show you how one of the morons end up getting caught. And hopefully there's more people like this.
Well, Kaylee, this is a story that deals with many different suspects in many different states. And we are learning, looking through these documents, that a mother in Ohio had the courage to call authorities on her 19-year-old, and she expressed some concern, and she may have blown this entire case open. His name is...
His mother. He lived in mommy's basement like a lot of these commies. Has nothing going for him. And they've got all day to just look at the crap on television and go to these activist meetings and hear these songs talk about us being Nazis and fascists and everything else. And it just washes over them to the point where they blame us. And I say us because the attack on Trump, the attack on the White House is an attack on us. Don't even skirt that. They blame us for where their life is right now. And this mother, can you understand what those of you ladies who are mothers must understand what kind of intestinal fortitude she must have had to call the cops on her own son.
19-year-old Tyson Proper, and he was picked up after she called authorities on June 10th, just a few days ago. This was 4 days before the UFC fight. We want to show some images. The first image, I believe, that we're going to show is a rifle that belonged to her son, according to authorities. The other is a screen grab, several screen grabs showing aerial images and maps of the Washington, D.C. area and discussing where snipers possibly...
Now, here's where it gets bad, and I want you guys to understand this. You probably haven't heard this on much of the cable news channels. Maybe a blip here, maybe a blip there. They're not going to talk about it a lot. They don't want you to know this. They don't want your friends and family to know this. And even here on YouTube, they don't want people to understand what the hell is going on. After this, I'm going to have to go in and delete that image because it showed a weapon. We can't have people see weapons. But this guy was going to go in and waste a whole bunch of people, but we can't even talk about it sometimes. It feels like the deck is constantly stacked against us. And to some extent, it is. They're never going to stop unless we stop them.
Would be related to the White House. This is all evidence that is posted on an official court docket right now, an official government document. But I will say 19-year-old Tyson Proper's mother called police after she was concerned about his purchases and communications with people online. It then led them to conversations that he allegedly had with someone named Brian Roa and Michael Thomas in Southern California. They appeared yesterday before a federal judge. We're also told that there is a suspect in Nebraska and one in Missouri as well. So what we're being told here, Kaylee and everyone on the couch, is that this alleged plot consisted of a plan to have drones that were actually armed with some type of firepower go and attack buildings around the White House. And once people left, they were going to have snipers nearby attacking some of the people leaving. This was a serious plot. The FBI, the Secret Service investigating this right now. And as you heard, the deputy director of the Secret Service right there say that they believe there are more people out there right now. That's
the part that's scary. It's not some small group. They already think it's 23. It could be 33. It could be 103. It could be many, many more of these idiots running around who have committed to their movement. This is domestic terrorism, pure and simple, brought to you by the same crowd that has spent years calling Trump the actual threat to democracy. While they plot to blow up a UFC event with the president and Melania sitting right there with thousands of patriots, the military, the real fighters in the cage, the UFC folks, real America, strength and competition and manly men out there, and you wanted to basically sucker punch the country. No safe spaces, no participation trophies, just two warriors in a ring in shorts trying to settle something like men. And these limp-wristed, sorry-ass terrorists couldn't stand it. They couldn't stand to see Donald Trump hosting this on the White House lawn. It drives these people bat poop crazy. I've said it before many times. These people don't like fun. Fun is an insult to them. Seeing people laugh and enjoying themselves is an offense. They don't want people happy. They want people miserable like them. Because we represent everything they hate or they've been bred to hate. Obviously, mom was like, I'm not down with this. You're not going to go out there and kill all these people. So something happened between mom, who obviously is a good person, and her son, the 19-year-old whack job. Well, we all know it's high school, it's college, it's watching there are other people. It's watching what the news says. It's what's going on in these chat rooms. They can't stand patriotism. They can't stand winning. They can't stand MAGA energy. And the media's already downplaying it. CNN is focusing on the alleged plot. Excuse me. I even saw one podcaster, and I just, he was saying, I don't believe it. I don't think this is real. I think it's some sort of distraction. While we're looking at all this stuff, I guess he didn't talk to this kid's mother. See, it's easy to say these things to people who don't do their homework. Everything I just said could have been completely made up until you hear that last part where it was his mother that called on him. Kind of hard to make all of that up. You can say, oh, they're reporting on something that really wasn't going to happen. There really wasn't a plot. Give me a break. It's fake. Until you hear how it came together. Somebody's mother called. Scary, scary. This is from the actual short press conference that the I think the director of secrets, not director, but one of the guys in the Secret Service.
We're here to support MPD. We're very close to our foreign missions branch. Many people don't realize that one of Secret Service's missions is to patrol our foreign diplomats, foreign dignitaries here in the region. The unit's called Foreign Missions, so we are patrolling this area along with MPD all the time.
Could you talk about the FBI announcing that it reported additional attack on the White House UFC event? First off, is there anything else you can say to that?
Yeah, I will. I'll tell you a phrase I learned early in my career in the New York field office, and that's don't choke on your own smoke. Anyone that believes that case was worked in a bubble is naive. I'll tell you the Secret Service led that investigation from the beginning. I'll tell you that it's ongoing. In order to maintain the integrity of the investigation and the security plan, we chose not to leak it.
What do you think was being planned, and how serious a threat do you think this was, the UFC?
Look, it was a serious threat. We take all threats of a large nature very seriously, and we investigate them until we can validate 100% that it's no longer a threat. It was an active plot, and it's ongoing.
Can you talk a little bit more about what they were planning?
They were planning to attack the Freedom 250. Some of what you read this morning's accurate. I'm not going to get into too many details because, like I said, this is still an active, ongoing investigation. Just because we're done with Freedom 250 or that particular event doesn't mean we're going to stop. There are still suspects at large, and we're going to work it until everyone's been identified.
You see, that's the other thing is he says they're not going to stop. Well, you guys know there's an event on June 24th. You know, there's also one obviously on July 4th, all kinds of events happening throughout the city as we move forward to July 4th. They're not going to stop either. That's the part that we all have to realize. Okay, this one didn't work. Now we need to do the next one. They're not going to stop. They don't want America to be America. I see people saying, no, we need insane asylums. We need more than insane asylums. We need to have, dare I say, people ready to go and understanding, getting the mindset that you're at war.
Use drones. That is not something that we have seen in this town before. I mean, can you kind of talk about this plot, what they were planning, and how it was unique?
I'd say it was unique due to the numbers involved, the level of planning involved. Thankfully, our advanced threat interdiction unit got on top of it very early, involved partners. You know, working these cases is a whole of government. They don't happen in a bubble. But it was an active plot, yes, involving purported, claimed to be planned to use drones, snipers, etc.
When you say numbers involved, how many people are we talking about involved in this type of plotting, and how early was this plot?
I'm not going to comment on how many involved because, like I said, it still is an active investigation. I will tell you that we've seen a significant increase in threat cases. We're up 40% this year in threat cases.
And sir, you say it's an active plot. How realistic is it that they couldn't carry it out?
I'm not going to comment on reality or realism of being able to carry it out. What I'll tell you is we're going to take every threat on its face. If you say you're going to do it, we're going to believe you until we can prove otherwise.
Was there ever consideration or talk about canceling the event as a result of this plot?
No, you may have noticed, or the city may have noticed, some pretty extreme security measures, road closures that were maybe more than normal. Those were
Okay, so understand, they knew this plot was in play before the event. That may be why we saw so many people, so many sharpshooters on the roof of the White House. Normally there's like 3 or 4. I remember turning on and hitting a switch, and I just silhouettes of all kinds of people up there. These unhinged, hateful Antifa scumbags have been allowed to fester for years. In fact, most of the people on the left, most of the Democrats, don't even want to acknowledge that Antifa even exists. How do you fix something if you don't want to admit that it even exists?
largely due to our great partners at MPD and the mayor's office that we have to work with in order to execute the overall security plan. We did a lot, and we're 100% confident that we knew locations, level of planning, level of response. The event itself, I am confident in saying, was never at risk due to the great investigative work.
Was it tips or technology? I mean, what brought you to this?
A little bit of everything.
Any materials, equipment been confiscated?
I'm going to hold on that and just say yes.
You mentioned details you released about the these individuals who were plotting this?
Not at this time. I want to maintain the integrity of the investigation, and we will put it out at the right time.
One more question, guys. The department chose not to leak this. What do you mean by that, and how upset are you that Cash Patel figured this out?
I'm not going to comment on who or what. I'm going to tell you that we, the Secret Service, made a conscious decision to maintain the integrity of the security plan and the ongoing investigation.
You said something about snipers. Can you elaborate on that? So this was drones and snipers?
Oh, and other techniques that they were plotting to attack the event. Again, the event was never at risk, period.
And again, how early did you guys first find out about this?
Enough time to make sure we could guarantee the event was safe.
Now, one of the things I want you to remember, you probably haven't forgot, that it was about a month and a half ago when President Trump and Melania, when they were all at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So we're not seeing anything slow down. He said threat level is up 40%, almost 40%. They're looking for vulnerabilities. They're looking for weakness. Like they used to say with the old guys from Al-Qaeda, we have to be right all the time. Our guys always have to be on their game. They only have to get through once. If the guy had gotten through all the protection at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, who knows what he would have done. God, thank you for protecting these people, because it could have been a complete massacre. But the one thing you see as the constant, they just are not going to stop. And with all this, none of the Democrats are condemning it. They wanted everybody's head for that one guy saying that, Michelle Obama had a weenie. They wanted the world to come out and condemn this guy. They want sponsors to come out and condemn it. But they don't talk about this. They don't talk about what their people are doing. In fact, they do just the opposite. They keep telling them we're threats. I'm going to show you something that Chuck Schumer just put out a second ago. We are the threats. Instead of saying, hey, looking forward to our candidates winning, and we think we have an answer for Donald Trump and MAGA, they don't. They want us to be cowering. But President Trump, he doesn't cower. You shouldn't cower. He fights back. You should fight back. He decides to host the biggest, boldest events, and the good guys win again. It was fantastic. And now you see what happens. Our country is still under threat, not just from foreign jihadis, but from homegrown radicals that the Democrats just love everything about it. They want chaos. I've never seen a group of people so happy about chaos. They want people broke. They want people poor. They want people not to be able to afford their groceries. They want to take money from people who can afford their groceries. Meanwhile, they're doing all kinds of releases about finding tens of billions of dollars stolen, and all they can go back out like Liz Warren and say we need to take more. We can't actually, the guy in Maine said we can't have any trillionaires. Like, what do you mean? Why would you not be encouraging this? And they've got this big fertile indoctrination camp called universities. And now they're doing it with young kids, with the drag shows. And it's all being fueled by social media, protected by Soros-funded DAs. Nobody gets in trouble. Now we're starting to see some people get arrested, but I also posted a video, actually I stole it from SV, excuse me, of more, how can I say this? More people fighting at a pool and ripping off wigs, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how people have gone completely nuts. We're not. You don't see us doing anything. We try to live our lives. Just leave us the F alone. But hopefully things are changing. Hopefully.
Not quite that much. One more. Hold on that one second. I'm sorry. There have been arrests. Not going to comment on charges or numbers. Last one. Last one right here.
What do you want to say about the work your agents and officers did to help thwart this attack?
Look, the men and women in the Secret Service are tremendous every single day. You all know the level of incidents we've had in this city and around the country in the last 12 to 48 months. They're doing tremendous work. They're working day and night. I can assure you many of them did not sleep until the early mornings of yesterday and are back at it again today. They're doing great work. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
It drives me crazy because I don't remember, I could be wrong, but I don't remember anybody taking shots at Joe Biden. I don't remember people taking shots at Obama. So obviously, our side isn't problematic. I'm sure there were threats we never heard of. It's in the nature of the beast. There's some wacky people on the right as well. But this stuff that we're seeing almost on a daily basis is beyond the pale. We almost watched President Trump's head explode on July 13th, and the media didn't even take a step to slow down. It's going to get worse. We have to stay vigilant. We have to support law enforcement when they're actually enforcing the law. If you back President Trump, and I believe you do, we have to see the rest of the swamp drained. And we got to do something about teaching our kids. These guys were 19. I don't know what went wrong. But are they just open to too much indoctrination 24/7? Are they going to these colleges? Are they going to these rallies and going to this activist stuff where, I mean, just think, this is what got me. I've known some nut jobs in my life, but they were usually, I don't know, loners. Not that they couldn't cause damage, but they weren't, the same thing. This was a group of, as of right now, 23 different nut jobs. They actually put a hit squad out against this event. That's what it was. What's the next one? The mall? A movie theater? A July 4th event in your town? You see, in about 3 weeks, there are going to be patriotic events all over the country. And I doubt any of them will have the security of the White House. So those are all soft targets. Be very, very careful. Keep your eyes open. Still go, because if you don't go, then that also means they win. If they can scare us away from enjoying our lives. But watch where you park. Keep your eyes open. And now we also need to know, keep your eyes open to the sky in case they're flying something in. You know what they did? I think you're all maybe thinking is they watched October 7th in Israel. They knew, hey, this is a good idea. We could do some crazy things. We could come in by a hang glider. We can fly a drone. We can do all these kind of things, and pretty much everybody below is defenseless. I'm not going to be defenseless. And I hope you aren't either. And I just before we go, not go, but go into the next section, I want to show you this amazing video that the Democrats put out to further indoctrinate crazies, to let them know, you know, we got another problem. All right, let's all get together and fight Trump because it's going to be awful.
Donald Trump says he doesn't care about the midterms.
Because he plans on rigging them.
They know voters are going to hold him accountable this November.
And they know their only way to win is to cheat. We're standing.
That's sweet. That's sweet coming from you guys. That is so nice that you're telling us. Well, actually, you're not talking to us. You're talking to more of these orcs that you're building, that now we're going to cheat and steal the election from you because you're winning.
Up for our democracy, and we will defend our free and fair elections.
This is why we've launched the most expansive protective effort for voting and elections that our caucus has ever undertaken.
Over the next 5 months, our Election Security Task Force will be meeting with top experts, planning for every possible threat, taking nothing for granted.
So now the Democrats have announced today that they're putting together some sort of security force to protect the election because of threats from us. Isn't that rich? Isn't that rich? We're the ones who are the threats. Trump is the threat, not what you people have done, not what we've seen, not when we see the vertical votes, not when we see what you did to Spencer Pratt. Oh no, it's not you guys, it's us. And you're telling this again to some of these wacky people.
We'll be ready for any attempt for voter suppression, any other bullshit maneuver that Trump and his MAGA friends will use to try to rig our elections.
Elections belong to American voters, not to Donald Trump.
Did a senator really feel that swearing there was going to like put a big exclamation point? Was that what he was trying to say? Or is it a trigger to some of these nuts sitting in mommy's basement? They're going to try and steal the election now. We're never coming back to the center. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. When I tell Robin that, Robin always tells me, you're wrong. And I'm like, why am I wrong? And she'll say, God can do it. Excuse me. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. God could bring us back together. Absent that, we're never getting back together. Excuse me, frog in my throat. Absent divine intervention, it's not going to happen. So, I don't know if divine intervention is going to cover you on July 4th, but wherever you go, keep your eyes open. These people are crazy, and they know they're losing. That's the worst part about all of this. They now know. They wake up every day now going, we got nothing. You mean Bette Midler sing a crazy song didn't work? No. Excuse me. You mean Robert De Niro sang a crazy song in his words? Nope. Julia Roberts reading a stupid poem? Nope. Nobody cares. And more prosperity begins to reign. I'm not even going to show you what the stock market's doing. Oil, gold, silver, everything that they hate is coming true. President Trump said, watch what happens. And I would remind you, I'm like, just get ready, strap on, because this rocket ship is going to take off. Literally, SpaceX did. Oh, I'm still waiting to see what it does in this 15-day holding period, but it's looking good. And I would challenge any Democrat. Tell me one thing that you guys right now can offer America. Don't worry about your cheating videos. Just tell me what you can do. What do you want for the American people? What do you think people would love to hear from you? You got nothing. And the entire time, all we see, you're going to see the president over in France at the G7. You're going to see J.D. Vance going into the coven of the View and slaying these people and absolutely kicking butt and taking names. And every time they do it, it just leaves everybody else in waste. Oh, the rest of the world is laughing at us. You sure about that? Qatar or UAE want to announce they're going to invest $1 trillion into America. It just doesn't stop. And over here, they're talking about Michelle Obama's weenie and how it was offensive. And so what? Nobody cares. It's thundering out here now. But you know what's going on. You know exactly what's going on.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
You know, we played that. I've been playing that for months. And one of the things that I want you from here on out, it is, what is that, June 16th. From here on out, what I want you to do is start keeping a scorecard. Just keep a scorecard and go, yep, we got them there. Yep, that's a win. Oh, that's another win. And just keep watching them stack up. Oh, gas is down. Here in South Florida, gas is below $4. It just keeps happening. SpaceX, through the moon, literally. Gold, up. Silver, up. Oil, down. A peace deal with Iran. Yeah, we don't know what these idiots will do. But I got to the point now, there's certain people on X, I can't even read them. You're full of crap. They're wishing for failure. Instead of saying, man, I hope this works out. This would be so great for our country. They're lying. Oh, Trump's going to give them $300 billion. How many times does he have to tell people? How many times does he have to post? The story that U.S. is paying Iran $300 is fake news. They just keep lying. Why? Because there's enough people out there who are sitting in mommy's basement, who are willing to believe this crap, who are willing to believe this Epstein stuff, and go out there and try to kill people. And they won't stop. They will continue to bitch about everything. Was that USV? I hear my phone.
That was
off.
me.
What do you got?
Yeah, stuff is happening. I ignore that first thing I said I was going to talk about because that's like old news. So one thing I want to say is by refusing to acknowledge Trump called police on Epstein, the media has incited repeated assassination attempts on Trump. Mainstream media should be sued for libel and bankrupt. So how does that come into play? Well, Bill Malugin, his breaking story earlier, I'm not going to read the whole thing and I'm not going to have you post. I'm just going to read a sentence. He basically said that.
I'll put it up. We got time. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So California man Michael Allen Thomas, one of the alleged organizers of the alleged terror plot, he's admitted he believes the U.S. government is run by elites who sacrifice and eat children, had involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, and are protected by President Trump. That sounds like he's been drinking the whole thing of Kool-Aid. So, this is the people. They're deranged, they're brainwashed, and this is what's happening. And as you said, this is not going to be the last time, because what did Temu say? Maximum warfare everywhere,
hold on,
all the time.
Hold on. Be careful here now. Now that I see this, I'm like, watch what happens now, because when he got to the part about the Epstein thing and kids eating, that was a lot of people on the right. The people on the left were disavowing that. So I'm wondering if that is a planted story. Just let's see this evolve. If that's a planted story in California, and where they're going to come out now and say it's somebody on the right and he's a Q-tard. Because I'm like, wait a second. People on the left they completely would go, no, that's not true. For him to take this and say those specific terms, that is someone who's dug in on the right. So watch the narrative shift a little bit. It possibly could.
All right. Well, granted that, I mean, with other stories, the other thing I sent you, X alerts, that it's more detail. I mean, they talked about some of the, and they had pictures of some of the conspirators. They said one guy Tyson Proper, he was arrested in Cincinnati for his involvement in the foil attack, and used his graduation money to purchase $3,000 of ammunition, guns. The guy on the left, who they claim is 19, but somebody said that police records said he's 52, and I believe he's 52 and lives in his mom's basement. He's not 19, man. I'm sorry.
Wait. So they're saying the guy on the left is 19?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah,
that's not 19, man. He's balding. I mean, come on.
He's lived a hard life if he's 19.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's what meth will do to you, man. Meth and TDS. So,
God.
Anyway, I mean,
19.
These people, the main thing is, which you can't disavow, they're deranged and they are brainwashed because they listen to the left media, which I've been saying to you and fanfare for a long time now, that the left media is an existential threat to the country. Yeah. They are getting to these people's heads, and they're like lemmings marching on. Like, I thought about that when he said they were going to shoot up the White House. Like, they would have been shredded. Like, do stuff would have popped out of the top of the White House? It would have, they would have been
there. I was on the ground.
Right.
I saw what's behind the scenes. I'm like, oh man, you people don't even know.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you don't even know.
Notice something. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Barry. Go ahead.
Notice something else in this thing.
Yeah.
It says that mommy gave him $3,000 for graduation money. Reading between the lines, not a poor kid.
Exactly.
He
was funded by mommy. Yeah.
Wow.
This is a live story. I feel like it's still growing and evolving. Like you said, that by Malugin, that could be something that's just put out there. But I tend to lean towards it's more truthful, because why would you attack the UFC event unless you're deranged and you're a leftard? I mean, come on, or commie. You're a communist.
Well, what's also interesting, I'm looking at this that you sent, is that how did these people come together? You got somebody in Cincinnati, you got somebody in California, you got somebody in Omaha, Nebraska, and another one of them in Kansas City, Missouri. How did they?
Interesting.
What was their the commonality? What were they involved in that brought all these people together? That's going to be very interesting.
It sounds like there's somebody high. It's kind of like you said, the people that come over Somalia, they're not rocket scientists. Most of them are low IQ, below 50. I mean, they're basically drooling and walking upright, barely. So someone's directing these people to do these things. And I believe that they have a team above. So somehow they got to follow the money, like they're doing against Governor Newsom in California. The money is always the trail, that the breadcrumbs that we could follow. So this story is going to evolve. And speaking of which, you just showed something I sent you just a couple minutes ago. President Trump, there's a video, Ducey had it, that Trump is about to let Iran sell oil on the market as part of the terms of the deal. They're not getting any money. So it just came out. I just sent that to you, that it was all a fabricated lie by the media. Iran is not getting a single dollar from American taxpayers, not one single dollar.
Well, he said it all along that they're not getting any money, and that it was all a lie. I mean, I even saw people like Andy McCarthy saying we lost, and they all just, I don't know, their sources, and they don't realize. Wait a minute. Let me back up even further. There, I don't know if you saw this one. Hold on. Let me show you this one. Did you see?
Oh
this
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, they claimed that he was going to fire Pete. Come on, man. I mean, he's a 1,000% upgrade from the guy in the dress who was wearing a plastic mask and he was a furry. I mean, come on. I mean, if you even believe any of this crap, then something is a little bit off on you. I mean, I'm sorry.
It's so sad because somebody has to take the time to refute this crap. They're like, oh, there's another one? Yeah, Trump slept with a puppy or something. I mean, okay, and you actually have to come out and refute it, where most of us are like, that's bull crap. But they start posting it all over the place, and they just do it. Excuse me. So I don't even know why people even listen to this stuff anymore, but
because it brings in clicks, right? It brings in money. I mean, you see it on the time on X. You still have, you know, the typical. I'm not going to say some of their names. Some of those honest people. I do have a happy story. So the original story I had for the folks, because I know there's a lot of animal lovers in the chat. And I am one as well. I love animals. Senator Kennedy, this is amazing. He just announced the Office of Research, Innovation, Validation, and Application, ORIVA. It's going to help accelerate the use of research technologies that will reduce reliance on animal testing at the NIH. So it's a major win for animal welfare. The video is about 45 seconds long. You see a bunch of beautiful animals, and they talk about it briefly. So it's pretty cool.
All right, let me see if the sound is good on it.
Completely surreal. Like, it is truly like the best announcement ever.
On Monday, hundreds of dogs were bused from Ridgeland to a private farm in Marshall, Wisconsin. The news in Wisconsin was amplified in Washington.
Today we're highlighting a major win for animal welfare.
As U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins announced the creation of ORIVA, the Office of Research, Innovation, Validation, and Application.
A new NIH office that will accelerate the development and use of humane-based research technologies and help reduce reliance on animal testing across all of NIH.
325 beagles will come out Monday and Tuesday. The rest will come out in August, when Ridgeland completes its last ongoing research project.
Now, you know I've got two little dogs. When all that stuff came out about Fauci and what he was doing to those beagles, there's not a lot of stuff that just makes me break down and just want to cry like a little kid.
Yeah.
When I saw some of those pictures, I was like, "You're kidding me!" I don't want to get into it, but I was like, I actually had to grab Midas and Lily, both of them in my arms, and just hold them. Like, how could you possibly look at these little dogs and do the things? That's evil.
I can't fathom either. There's somebody in the chat, a beagle lover. She's like, free the beagles. We'll free them.
Yeah, well, at least they're gonna. Wow. All right, so, man. I mean,
that's all I have right now. So.
All right, so here's where I'm going. I've got next thing up is we're going to be here for a while. I got President Trump in his meeting with the UAE this morning. I put up a poll earlier, and I guess nearly 80% of you guys really haven't seen this. So I got two things from President Trump, and then I've got J.D. Vance at The View.
Oh my gosh, I saw that earlier.
Oh God,
yeah.
I got the whole thing.
You know, the funny thing is that I'm not going to give any spoilers, but the one chicken, the one hen, she echoes the same thing. Well, what about the Epstein? He oh my God. So obviously they've drank the entire jar, Kool-Aid box, whatever, you know, oh my gosh.
No, they are the Kool-Aid makers. They are the Kool-Aid makers. They sit there with the big vat, the cauldron of crap that they sit there and stir up constantly. So that's them. All right, so thank you, SB. I'll be right back, and we'll go into Trump.
One man is being victimized
by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Before I get to President Trump's talk, I had to show you this. Maybe I can download it real quick because this is this is a different one of the Antifas now getting arrested. So the Antifas in what city is this in? Hold on, let me see where this is. This is in Minneapolis. They just executed a little while ago a Antifa raid, and look at this little Nimrod that they got in custody. But they went there in full force. Here, let me show you the tweet first. It says breaking: Minneapolis Antifa member Isaac Alman-Sant was arrested after he was indicted for allegedly being a part of a violent conspiracy to attack and impede federal officials in the Twin Cities. He's a secret contributor to the Antifa terror collective Crime Think and uses the aliases Isaac, Dotto, and Ike. I guess he considers himself quite the little operative. But here's him getting taken down. We should all just celebrate this kind of stuff.
612-444-2654.
Is your dog okay?
Not my dog.
Not your dog. Okay.
What's your name?
My name's Isaac Sant.
Isaac Sant.
First name's I-S-A-A-C. Last name S-A-N-T.
Thank you.
My lawyer is Kevin Rich. I very much like you could call him.
We'll do it.
Rich is spelled R-I-C-H.
612-444-2654. Nazis.
Fucking pig.
Shame on you. Nazis. Fucking Nazis. Get the fuck out of our neighborhood. Look at them. Fat pieces of shit. Get the fuck out of here. Lazy motherfuckers. Go! Look at them. Fucking idiots.
Sorry about the language, but it's real life. It's real life. That's what's going on. That's who these people are. And I thank all the guys out there who have patience, because They should have just taken, is it that much? Your whole neighborhood is saturated? Think about that for a second. They're taking this guy out. He gets arrested, and the rest of the people in the neighborhood are mad because they're taking out the Antifa guy. But what's really funny is I thought you liked Nazis. You guys got to make up your mind. We can't tell from time to time, is a Nazi bad or is a Nazi good? If it's a you're Nazi, that's what you're saying. SB goes, he won't be blowing whistles in prison. Oh God. So again, I wanted to show that because that goes to the people who say, I'll believe it when I see it, because I don't think they're seeing it. People who say, I'll believe it when I see it, aren't seeing everything that's happening. I don't know if their eyes are, just wearing blinders, but there's so much going on. I'm telling you, I could be doing this, excuse me, we could be here for 6 hours. That's how much stuff is going on. But anyway, let's talk about President Trump over in France. This is what, you'll see here.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. I just want to say His Highness is a warrior. He was in there fighting, and he does what has to be done, and he's known for it. He's a courageous man. He's got a great country. It's a fantastic country, and they've been with the United States for a long time, but I would say much more so since I came on board, I will say. They've invested trillions of dollars in the United States, and I was telling them before at another meeting that we have over $19 trillion being invested in the United States, which is a record, and it's building factories, car plants, everything. We're doing things that have never been done. The record was $3 billion many years ago with a different country, and we're going to be over 19. I think we'll head to $19.3 trillion. So there's probably not going to be anything. Maybe we'll do better next year. I don't know if it can. I don't know if you can do better. But I just want to say that the relationship has been outstanding. He's a man of great respect. Everybody respects him, and they respect your country. And it's an honor to be with you. And we just signed a deal with Iran, and this country was a very powerful ally. And good things are happening. The ships are starting to move now. We're going to have it fully open by Friday. The ships are starting to move nicely. Oil is starting to go, and the prices are coming down rapidly. Stock market is going up rapidly. A lot of good things are happening, and most importantly, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. That was how I got involved in this. We can't let that happen, so they will not have a nuclear weapon. And other than that, I'd like to ask His Highness to say a few words. And if you want, we can take a couple of questions, please.
Well, it's really my pleasure, Mr. President, to be with you here. And I want to say that we are so grateful to have you here and as a President of the United States. And thank you for your support, your commitment to your friend, to your allies. And special thank for your support during the six-week war. It means a lot to us.
I'm seeing in the chat where a lot of people are saying that JD Vance is on right now. Trust me, I've got so much JD Vance content. I've got JD Vance on The View. I got JD Vance on Hannity, and he's out doing his book tour. So you're going to have all kinds of JD Vance content coming up as well.
And he shows who's very alive. And without your support, your commitment, Mr. President, not my country only, but the Middle East will be in a different part, a different situation today. So really my pleasure to see you today, Mr. President. Thank you for giving us the time, and there is a lot of things we can talk about for going forward between our two countries, how we can make our relationship even better.
Well, thank you, my friend. See, when you're that rich, you can speak that lowly. I was just wondering, can anybody hear that? But when you're so rich, you have such confidence that you don't have to do any strain to the voice. He's great. So, do you have any questions for us?
What should we expect from the second stage of the negotiation from this memorandum?
I don't know. It's a 60-day period or so. I think it's going to happen fairly on time. We've been both involved. I think they're going to want to get it done. Iran wants to get it done. They have to get back to business. And the relationship is now normalized. So I think it's going to go pretty quickly, Steve. Could go faster. Could take longer, too, but it could go faster.
There's so much interest in the text of the document. Why not release the document?
Oh, I will.
Why not release it?
Well, because I'd like to get a formal setting first before we do that. But I have no problem with that. It's a great document. Here's what it says. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's what it says. It won't have one. To buy, to develop, they will not have a nuclear weapon. And I would say that's about 99.9% of what I wanted, because we couldn't let that happen. You couldn't let that happen. And they won't have a nuclear weapon. Now, in addition to that, the Strait is going to be open toll-free. And it's toll-free beyond the 60 days. It's not, somebody said, oh, it's toll-free for... No. It's toll-free, period. When it opens permanently, it'll be toll-free. I want to congratulate our Navy because the naval blockade was unbelievable. But I'll not only release it, I'll probably have a press conference and read it to you word by word so that the press covers it accurately. Because it's a very important document, and unlike Obama, who could have destroyed the Middle East with a horrible JCPOA, it is the worst agreement. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. Mine is a wall against a nuclear weapon. I mean, I see these people say, but we already had one. That was the worst. He paid a fortune for it. We paid nothing. We don't pay. There was some statement, we're going to spend $300 billion. No. We're not. We're allowed to go and invest if we wanted to someday in the future. We have no obligation whatsoever. It could be that Iran will turn out to be successful when they have oil. But if we left a week ago, just left, before the last two attacks, it would have taken them 20 years to rebuild Iran. So, but I'll go over the document with the media in a couple of days.
Mr. President, a few weeks back you said you'd like to see other nations join the Abraham Accords, much like the UAE has. Have there been any discussions with Arab leaders about that?
About what?
Joining the Abraham Accords like the UAE has?
Well, I'd love to have them. This is a man who's very advanced. He was early in, and he's done very well with them, the Abraham Accords. No, it's... I think they should happen. The big impediment to the Abraham Accords, we have our original countries, very smart countries, every one of them. Do you notice that even during that period of conflict, nobody dropped out? Nobody said, oh, gee, I'm going to drop out. Nobody. I think they're all going to come in now into the Abraham Accords. The only conflict was a place called Iran. And I understand that, it's a little bit tough when people were afraid of Iran. But I think they're going to all start coming in. Good question, actually.
Mr. President, what do you say to Republicans like Senator Lindsey Graham, who is skeptical of the MOU?
Lindsey is skeptical?
Yes.
I'll have to talk to Lindsey. He'll be in big trouble. Lindsey's good. Lindsey's fine. He's not skeptical. He's just fine. Look, this agreement covers something very nicely. We're not paying for anything. We're not doing anything. The markets now are higher than they were when we started. Remember that. The stock market now is 2,500, maybe even more than that, points higher than it was when we started. It's pretty amazing. This agreement's about one thing, that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Never, ever, ever. The rest of it's irrelevant, frankly.
Senator Graham also said that an eventual agreement with Iran should be sent to Congress for review. Would you do that?
I never thought of it, but I would. I wouldn't mind. I mean, the Democrats, we call them Democrats because they're dumb people. The Democrats are Well, what I'd like to do is send it to Congress saying you shouldn't approve it, and I'll get it approved. Whatever I say, they want to do the opposite. It's not working too well for them, by the way. But yeah, I never thought of it.
Did you see the president of UAE? Somebody asked in the chat, does he understand English? Obviously he does, because he laughed as soon as he said that. Wow. Even people in other countries know our government's completely effed.
I never even thought about it, but I will send it to Congress. I like the idea. I mean, who wouldn't approve it? Let's let them have a nuclear weapon. The Democrats will say, oh, they should have a nuclear weapon. They'll go crazy. I like the idea. Send it to Congress, please, all right?
Mr. President, were you briefed on the attack plans for the UFC event at the White House? There was, the FBI ordered an attack.
I haven't heard about it, no. But I watched, the attack that I watched were the fighters. And he saw it too, by the way. He was sitting back home in his beautiful palace and he was watching that. And they were as good a fights as I've ever seen. Right? The best fight. The best. They were. But that last fight was brutal. Wow. And the all of the fights. The two fights. It was all good. It was a great evening. It was very different for the White House. But I wish you could have been there. We built an incredible arena. Dana did a great job. There's going to be another fight next year? Well, I don't know. I got away with it. It was 250 years. Maybe in another 50, maybe in 300.
So are you considering an increase on sanctions on Russia and whether to be legal?
Well, soon we'll be able to do that because the oil is now flowing. So we took sanctions off because obviously we're not looking to impede the oil. So we're in a position to do that soon.
Let them lapse.
Yeah, at some point.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding this.
What a nice-looking person. Is he from your country? Yeah. Is he from your country?
Absolutely.
No, he's got such a nice way about him. My people are so mean. Look at him. The handsome guy can put him. Be careful. No, I can put him in a movie right now. Go ahead.
Mr. President, how can we make sure that Strait of Hormuz is open for lasting navigation in the future?
Have a United States with a strong president. It's the only way you can do it, I guess, when you think we have all the agreements you want. The agreements for bad people don't mean anything. Look, we were the ones that blockaded the sheet. They blockaded it, and we then said, well, we blockaded it for them, so they didn't get any oil. You're going to need to have, and this is true with a lot of things, if you have a strong president of the United States, a lot of good things can happen. You know? You know that better than anybody, right? Absolutely. You know it better than anybody. Stability of the Middle East.
Can you talk a little bit more about the plan for the enriched uranium that is in the mountains?
Yeah, we do. We'll take it.
Has Iran said they would welcome the U.S. coming in? How specific?
Iran will be just fine. What's happening is that at an appropriate time, there's no rush at all. We have cameras from space on it. We know everybody that goes there, which is like nobody.
Cameras from space? Could that be from the guy that you guys, or not you guys, but many people said he had a fight with? You know, the guy who just turned into a trillionaire, who I don't know, created a company called SpaceX? Could it be that guy? He just said we have satellites that can zero in on that whole Iranian spot right there where they blew up. Just gotta wonder, whose technology are we using?
The B-2 bombers hit it. The entire mountain collapsed inside it. It's a very tough excavation. Nobody else can do it but us and probably China. They have the equipment. We have the equipment. We're in no rush, but we get it, and when we get it, we'll destroy it.
Is that part?
We're not looking to take it. We're looking to destroy it. We have plenty of it.
So the Versailles dinner tomorrow night, what prompted you to go to that? The dinner tomorrow night in Versailles.
So, well, I'm a fan of beautiful places. And I was leaving in the afternoon, and then the French president, who happens to be a very nice man, invited me to dinner at Versailles. And Versailles is not a gold leaf. Versailles is the real deal. And I said, I'd like to do it. I mean, you know, all it means is that I get home later in the evening, meaning early in the morning, and I'm not a big sleeper anyway. I'll be in the Oval Office I won't lose any time in the Oval Office. So I have to say this, our country is doing really well. We're doing better than we've ever done as a country. The stock market's the highest, everything's the highest. 401ks are the highest they've ever been by 25%. And we're doing really well. And now you're going to see prices coming down. You know, when I took over, prices were very high. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Prices were high, eggs were high, bacon was high, everything was high. And the first question I got asked, what about affordability? I did a news conference one day after I took over, and these people said, what about affordability? I said, I didn't cause it, but I'm bringing it down. And now with the fuel going way down, you saw yesterday it went down $6, $7. With fuel going down, as goes fuel, so goes everything. I've always seen that, right? Fuel, you're in a very good business, because as goes fuel, so goes everything. Fuel is dropping. It's now in the 70s per barrel, and I think we'll get it down. When I was in Iowa, and we had great victories in Iowa, and when I left, I noticed at a gas station, $1.85 a gallon. That's where we were. It's a little bit higher generally, but I saw two stations, $1.85, one had $1.91. And, you know, we're going to get around those levels, so very honored. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
So what's really interesting to me is that they see a guy sitting there who President Trump acknowledged has put literally trillions of dollars into the American economy. And not one reporter, not one, was interested in finding out why. You would think if you hear a number of trillions of dollars, it would catch your eye. You're like, excuse me, with everything going on in America, with all this stuff happening in Iran, why do you still think America is a good investment? I would think that'd be a question that people here would want to know. They don't ask. Do you feel the American economy is strong enough to warrant continued investment? They don't want to know. Do you think that the American economy can support with our consumer base what you're looking to see? Intelligent questions based upon somebody who's in charge of putting trillions of dollars into our economy. The problem is they don't want you to know that, because that would indicate that the economy is doing well. I'm wondering how many of you just heard it and it went right over your heads. One of the things the press hates to say is that they don't understand or don't want people to understand that we have arguably, outside of maybe China, but I think we're even bigger than China, the biggest consumer market in the world. Everybody wants to sell here. Everybody wants to invest here. So if you hear that, if you heard him say, yeah, we're putting trillions in, immediately you must say to yourself, something doesn't jive. The Democrats say everybody here is broke. The Democrats say here people can't afford anything. The Democrats say people can't afford gas. They can't afford groceries. Would you invest your hard-earned money with somebody broke? Think about that. You go down to the 7-Eleven and there's a homeless guy there. You think to yourself, you know what? I'd like to invest in you. I'd like to give you like $5,000. Okay. Yeah. As soon as you turn around, they're buying liquor. They're not a good investment. Broke people, broke countries are not good investments. Ain't nobody giving Haiti $1 trillion. And so just by the very fact of what they just said at the beginning tells you right there, you don't have to go any further. You don't look at any charts. You don't have to listen to Democrats. You don't even have to listen to Trump. We're going to give you $1 trillion. Okay, that should answer every single question you have about the economy. Doesn't mean everybody is at the same level of consumer as everybody else. But the massiveness of the United States market indicates there are way more people that are viable for me to invest in than there aren't. And I'm just wondering how many people, as you hear all this stuff, why is this company going to put a $50 billion into Nebraska and build a factory? Why is this company putting in $20 billion there? I thought we're all broke. It sucks. We can't afford to eat. It's all bull crap. And I let that play. I didn't interrupt when he said it. I just wanted to see if you guys picked up on it. Because that's what President Trump is over there. In addition to the whole Iranian thing, he's over there pumping up our business. Hey, I need you to come here. I have a viable investment for you. And by the way, every single one of you who have invested, whether it's SpaceX, gold, or silver, what do you expect? What do you expect is a return on that investment. So it's not like he likes Trump and let me just give you $1 trillion. No, that's not what I'm not doing it because I like you. I'm doing it because I intend on making money. So as I've been exhaustive in talking about prosperity, I just watch and I just see how so many people don't pick up on these little tells. And it just goes right by them. The media won't talk about it. They will not even slow down. Yeah, billion, trillions, whatever. Hey, so are you going to do anything with Epstein? They don't. The story is that's your big story. Your big story is that there are countries all over the world are willing to invest in the American economy. And so many people miss that. They don't get it. And that's why things are going the way they are, and where that puck is headed is because, if people are investing in America, then we're going to do even better. Just saying. If you watch the vital signs, like I've been telling you, I know a lot of people, for some reason, don't like me talking about prosperity, but the guy with the turban on there, I'm going to give you $1 trillion. Should speak volumes to you. Excuse me. SB, anything new?
No, actually nothing too exciting. I'm just scouring the airwaves here. Actually, the White House has posted a little meme showing the Summer of America, Patriotic Summer. They come out with some interesting things. Here, I'll just send it to you here.
Hold on. Let me pull it up here real quick.
Wait a minute. Copy. Here we go. I think I didn't. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, I heard the guy that runs the White House X account. He's paid a lot of money. He puts out some really good things. A lot of nice videos.
Summer of America, Patriotic Summer.
Yes.
So I recognize those silhouettes. That's Trump and Dana White, right when the flyover was happening. Yeah.
Perfect.
I just thought that was absolutely amazing when that happened. In fact, if I had gotten my colors right, excuse me, I was going to change that, and that was going to be my background, because I was like, I just love that picture. It was so phenomenal. But it's good.
Did a lot of folks know that the UFC fighters, actually their locker room was in the White House? Well, I don't know if that was really discussed.
Part of the thing. That was part of the things that the liberals were crying about, is because Jimmy Kimmel actually did a whole segment on how the White House was desecrated because this guy was in the Roosevelt room and the other guy was in the Oval Office, and I'm like, man, you really need to get over yourselves. I mean, seriously. Yeah.
Well,
unbelievable.
The only thing that makes them happy, I guess, is being a communist and taking our money and eradicating conservatives. That's the only thing that makes them happy, because I don't know that video when you showed. I didn't even know that was Bette Midler. I said I had to go in and go, what has happened to her? Like, she looks like she's melting. They're turning into orcs from Lord of the Rings. Seriously,
well, the complete disconnect of these socialist commies at these events I guess they don't realize is that the people who are on stage are multi-millionaires. I mean,
Yeah,
Julia
that's-
Roberts
that's
must
the
be
crazy
worth,
thing.
She must be worth $100 million. De Niro's obviously worth $100 million. Bette Midler's probably in that same 100 category for everything she's done, movies and music. It doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, go, commies. As I'm talking, looking at got somebody with $100 million. I'm just like you people. No, you're nothing like them.
Poor Bernie, you know? I mean, it's the billionaires and the trillionaires, Barry. We got to stop them. Take all their money. Wait a minute. I have a couple million.
And it's funny that Bernie's not selling any of his houses. Nope.
No.
Not
is
doing it.
he inviting anybody in? Is Karen Bass inviting any of the homeless people into her home?
No, it's a complete disconnect. Or Mandami. Mandami comes from a very rich family. And they have this persona, like, we're for the little peoples. The hell you are.
Poor peoples.
All right.
It's
So
all a bunch of bullshit. Yeah.
I'm going to jump to Trump's next one here. Let me take a break quick, and I'll be
Okay.
back
See
in
you soon.
90 seconds.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Everybody, we appreciate you being here. We've had a great meeting. We have a great relationship. The Emir is a fantastic man, respected all over the world. Prime Minister likewise. But we have to go to the Emir first. Do you agree, Mr. Prime Minister? First him. But highly respected people, great people. And we work very well together. We have our deal done with Iran, and it should be successful. It goes to a second stage, which I think will be actually easier. I didn't want to attack them last week, but we had no choice. And we did it twice, actually. We were doing it a third time, and we were able to not have to do that. But we have a deal that's a fair deal. It's a good deal. We are not investing any money in Iran, by the way. When that rumor got out there yesterday, it was ridiculous. We have the right to go in someday and do, if I want to do something or somebody wants to do something, but we are not investing any money. We have no obligation to invest any money in Iran. Working with Qatar and the people of Qatar was really a pleasure. They were tough, they were strong. You know, they are the closest to Iran physically. So with other countries, I noticed I had to travel about 45 minutes to get there. With you, you could walk right across the border. So you were in a more dangerous position. But I do have to say, you fought and you helped us, and with great bravery. So I just want to compliment you on that, and you'll always be my friend.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. It's always a pleasure seeing you. I want to thank you for your leadership in this very, very important, critical time in the Middle East. And I think, as you mentioned, Mr. President, this is a very important deal. There's still a lot of work to be done, but I think, with this momentum, if we continue like that, Mr. President, I think we can achieve and do great in the region. So it's going to be very important for the region, and very important also for Iran as well. So we are here to help. Whenever friends ask us to help, we're always here to help. Of course, also our bilateral relationship, Mr. President. Since your historic visit in Doha last year, our trade partnership is going to reach $1.2 trillion. Right. And this is huge. And we have a lot of great investments that we're very proud of as well in the U.S. and also American companies investing in Qatar. So overall, we are very, very proud and very happy about this relationship. And, I want once again thank you very much for your leadership. I think it was a very critical time, but I think you took the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you to them.
Thank you.
Qatar is going to be investing much more than $1 trillion in the United States. We have over...
Hold on. There you go again. Now another $1 trillion. Qatar, whatever you want to say. Another $1 trillion. Let's see if the media asks the questions I just asked about the UAE. Hey, why are you putting $1 trillion into the American economy? By now, you guys have trained your ears. Hopefully, you heard that, and you should have went, "Whoa, hey, what are you saying? $1 trillion? More money? You're cha-ching, cha-ching." I bet you the press doesn't ask about it.
18, it's going to be 19.4 or so when it figures out. But we set a record. There's never been anything like it. No country in history has had that kind of investment. We'll be having almost $19.2 trillion invested in the United States. The record was 10 years ago from another country when it was hot, but we have the hottest country in the world right now. But Qatar's been a great investor. We really rekindled ourselves when I met with you last year, a year ago, probably 13, 14 months. That was a good trip. And
it was May,
so they're gonna,
last May, I think.
Yeah, That was a great trip, and we established. We've been friends for a long time. We've known each other for a long time. But Qatar is investing tremendous amounts of money in our country, and we appreciate that. Our country is we're building more factories, AI. We're leading AI by a lot. We're building automobile factories. We're building more than we've ever built in the history of our country. No country is ever doing what we're doing right now. No country has ever been able to do. And those factories will be opening over the next year and a half. Some are already open or very soon. The pharmaceutical companies are coming back. The car companies are coming back from Germany, from Japan, from so many other places, Mexico and Canada. They're all coming back. We lost them foolishly years ago because we had presidents that didn't really know what they were doing. They should have never lost. But they're all coming back in beautiful, brand new, gleaming factories. In fact, there are a couple of big old plants. And I said, "Are you going to use that plant?" And they said, "No, we're building brand new." They're knocking it down. Everything's built brand new, beautiful. It's jobs. And the auto business, we're going to bring back probably, we lost 57% of our automobile business. I think we're going to bring it mostly back. And for chips, we were the king of chips, and then it got stolen from us. We went from being the king to having basically no chip business. The CHIPS Act that was done by Biden was a disaster. Just a stupid thing to do. He handed billions and billions of dollars to people, and then they didn't build a factory. But we have a different system. We have a system that if they don't build, they get paid tariffs. They have to pay tariffs of upwards of 200%. They don't have to pay anything for a little while, but if they don't get their plant built, then we would have, I think, 50% of the chip industry by the time I leave office, so maybe more. They're building mostly coming out of Taiwan, but they're building, and a lot of them, for whatever reason, in Arizona, Texas. But we'll have 50%, maybe more than that, of the chip industry. We're going to have, we'll be making almost all of our pharmaceuticals, and likewise that. If they don't build, they'll have 150 to 200% tariff to pay. If they do build, they have no tariff to pay. So our country has never done anything like this. And I want to mention Iran. We appreciate the relationship we've had over the short period of time with Iran. The primary thing is, we can talk about the Iran deal all day long. We're not investing any money. We have the right to if we want, but we're not investing any money. We didn't pay for it like Obama did. He paid billions of dollars. He paid $1.7 billion from an airplane, all green cash. It was crazy. I watched that. I couldn't believe it. But the one thing that's happening that's of note, frankly, the only thing that really matters to me, is Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And it says it loud and clear. They're not going to develop it. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to do anything with it. And if they do, they suffer unbelievable consequences. Not just a little bit like, I won't even tell you the consequences, but the consequences are the ultimate consequences. And with that being said, I hope we have a very good relationship. But the biggest thing is they will not have a nuclear weapon. And that's the reason I got in, and that's the reason I agreed to sign. And we originally had, Marco was with me, and they originally wrote that we will not develop a nuclear weapon. I said, no, you're not going to develop it, you're not going to buy either. So we have, that took another couple of days of time. Everything was, it's ridiculous, but so we have, they will not develop, purchase, buy, or any other thing. They're not going to acquire a nuclear weapon. If they do, all hell will rain down on them. And they're not going to do that, you know. Now, you talk about regime change. I never cared about regime change. It's never a part, but I guess you have regime change because you know better than anybody. The first group, they're all dead. The second group, they're dead. A part of the third group is gone. And we're dealing with people that I think are very rational people. I mean, they were nice to deal with. They were strong people, smart people. I think actually they're smarter than the first and second group. But they're not radicalized, and they're, you know, looking to help their country. So, again, I don't believe the regime change. You know, I've watched regime changes for years. They never work. It has to just happen. I can tell you this is a country where the Emir is so respected, and the Prime Minister is so respected by the people, and that's the way a country should run. It should run out of respect, not of fear. As you know, at least 42,000 protesters were killed in Iran. Killed. They were protesting. The wrestler, they had the big event at the White House the other day, the UFC, and they were all talking about he was a great fighter. And he was hung with his two friends because he spoke something about their regime. It's tough stuff. So we're very happy that we were involved. We're very, very impressed with Qatar and the way they've handled things because they were really on the line. They were in the front line. They were being shot at just about as much as anybody, but you were a lot closer because you were right there. Literally, I could walk in a minute. Every other place I have to take a plane, but I can walk. So they were really on the line. And I just want to comment that I just want to really congratulate you on bravery. I don't know if you get congratulated for bravery, because bravery is something you either have or you don't, and you never know until you test it. But you were tested, and you had great bravery. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Are you going to have a separate meeting with President Zelensky? And what would
I had one.
What would a Ukraine deal look like?
Well, we have one, but we had a good meeting. I'm meeting him later on, too. We had a very good meeting. Look, Russia should make a deal. Russia's lost tremendous amounts of people, and so has Ukraine. Last month, they lost 35,000 soldiers between the two of them. Think of that. This is on a monthly basis. They average 25,000 people, mostly soldiers, young, beautiful people. And it's crazy what's going on there. But we had a meeting, and we'll see how. I spoke with President Putin on Sunday. And it's sort of the same thing. I mean, they just keep going, fighting, losing soldiers. They lose so many soldiers. This is not since World War II has anything like this happened. I settled 8 wars. This was the one I thought was going to be the easiest settled. They just, there's a lot of dislike between the two leaders. But yeah, I'm meeting with him again later on today.
And are you going to have a special focus on Ukraine?
Well, we're going to look. Now we were focused on Iran. That's going to be in the back, in the rear view mirror. But look, we have nothing to do with it. We sell weapons to them. We don't even give them. Obama gave them $350 billion worth of what which was crazy. The European Union pays us full price for weapons. But it's not that. It has no impact on us other than we sell weapons. We're thousands of miles away. But the only reason I don't like to see 25,000 young people die every month. Every month, 25,000 people die. Young people, they're just starting their life. They go to this front and they get blown up. And Ukraine is losing a lot of people too. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. So, I'm going to do whatever I can.
Mr. President, if the Iranian regime continues to kill their own people, will you still move ahead with this deal?
If they refuse to what with their people?
If they continue to kill their own people, the Iranian
we talk to them about it, and we see. I will say the majority of that took place during the first and second regimes, much more so than now. It was much more severe, but it's a terrible thing. Yeah, do you have a question?
Yes, Mr. President. This is for both you and the Emir, what are the economic opportunities?
Well, I think they'd be good. I mean, I can tell you from our standpoint, we have a lot of opportunities all over the world, but the Emir lives right next door, and I think, they have a lot of oil. I think they'll be good. First, they're going to have to prove themselves, I think, before any of us go in there. But I hope they do well. I hope they do well. Look, one thing, whether they do well or poorly, they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's a big thing. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would have blown up Israel, they would have blown up the Middle East, and they probably would have taken a shot at us. We would have gotten them first, I think. But they would have done tremendous damage. Had we not canceled the Obama nuclear deal, the JCPOA, you would have had them having a nuclear weapon 5 years ago. That expired. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. It was the dumbest deal I've ever seen other than NAFTA. NAFTA maybe was even dumber. But just in terms of a bad deal for us. Paid them billions and billions of dollars. We paid nothing. They paid them billions of dollars, and it was a disaster. I terminated that in my first term. Had I not terminated, and we hit them hard, we terminated it. In my second term, we sent in the B-2 bombers, and we terminated I call it the nuclear dust, their enriched material, right? And totally effectively. And I remember when CNN, which is fake news, I don't know, he probably isn't, but CNN said, well, maybe it wasn't that effective. So the Atomic Energy just reported that it was one of the most devastating bombings that they've ever seen. The whole mountain collapsed on top of it. And frankly, to go get it, we're going to go get it. But to go get it is a big deal. Because they say only China and us have the equipment where you can even get. The whole mountain is collapsed on top. We have cameras on it. You could make the case, why are you even bothering? Because it's not really valuable. It's probably $500,000 worth. It's not very valuable stuff. But I think psychologically we want to get it.
Can I just answer? You asked that. I think in the last couple of months or weeks, I think that wasn't we were not interested in, what are the opportunities, economical opportunities in Iran. Our interest, both of us, was to, first of all, to find a deal to stop this war. This is our main target. But looking at the economy and the opportunity, I'm sure there are going to be huge opportunities. And, as I said, this is a very important momentum to keep working like that to reach, let's say, the final deal. After that, Iran will be, of course, open for any kind of investments. And I'm sure there are going to be huge opportunities. But to be honest, we never thought of it, our target, is to try to find a deal.
Well, they're going to need something because we blew them up. And, you could make the case, I used to make the case that, like a week ago I said, and now it's different, we have an agreement, but if we left, we did a great job. If we just left, we did a great job because it would take them 15, 20 years maybe to rebuild. And we were going to do a much bigger job if the agreement wasn't signed. We would have taken it to a level. And if we did that, they would never, ever, I believe, be able to rebuild. Too much.
Mr. President, what are the expectations for Israel? Can this deal survive if Israel attacks Lebanon?
It can, and I consider that the minor war. The Iran's the big one, but we have that a little pinprick out there that constantly rears its head, and that's Hezbollah. And I was very responsible for Syria, and the man that's running Syria now is a person that I put there along with President Erdogan and some others. He's done an amazing job of pulling it together. He's not a Boy Scout, but he's done an amazing job of pulling it together. And he is very good with Hezbollah, does not like them. And I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it.
Is Netanyahu on board with
And I didn't like Syria. I didn't like where 2 hours before we're signing the agreement that there was an attack in Lebanon, in Beirut. It was right in, it wasn't like in the southern side, and it was in Beirut. I did not like that. I let them know that. I didn't like it, not at all. But I think that Syria, he's pulled that country together amazingly quickly. He's very capable. And he's been very good for me. He's protected everything that I've asked for, he's done. And if Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else, he'll do the job. Syria will do the job.
All right, so that's not going to sit well with Netanyahu. Just so you know, you're going to start seeing that in the news relatively soon, that President Trump, they're going to say he threw Netanyahu under the bus. But what he's trying to do is, if he can get this area of the world having some sort of peace, which we know is very tough to do, that's his objective. But at the same time, Bibi's got to protect his country. So I guarantee you a lot of people are going to say he just threw Netanyahu under the bus.
Frustrated with Netanyahu, sir?
No, we had a great relationship. We're talking about some end details. I didn't like that he did an attack based on there was a very minor little thing with some drones that were released, and he ends up doing I saw that attack. I saw where that bomb went. Did you see what happened? That was a vicious, that was too much. You can do too much also. But we've had a very effective relationship. Without us, without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon. Lebanon used to be a great country. It was a country where you had professors, doctors, lawyers. The great intellect was in Lebanon. Now it's terrible. I would say of all countries, they've been treated the worst. And they can't defend themselves. And they have Hezbollah, which is a problem for them. So, no, I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran. So when you ask me about Bibi, an unbelievable relationship. But Israel would have been blown up a long time ago had I not gotten involved. Two things I did. I terminated the Iran nuclear deal. Barack Hussein Obama sold out Israel for Iran. He went to Iran. He sold them out. How anybody can vote for this guy or the party, the Democrats I call them, because they're dumb. They're dumb people. That's number one. How anybody can vote for them. And the second was the B-2 bombers, just totally destroyed. So they had the right, they're the JCPOA. I watch these politicians, I watched this Senator Reid that nobody ever heard of the other day. Well, this deal is the same as the deal with Barack Obama. No. This deal is a wall to a nuclear weapon. His deal was a road to a nuclear weapon. My deal, they can't have a nuclear. They get blown up. If they have a nuclear weapon, they get blown up. In his deal, they were allowed to have a nuclear weapon. And in all fairness to Bibi, I remember very well, Bibi came to Washington and he begged Obama not to make that deal. And Obama was on the side of Iran, not Israel. And he made the deal. That deal was a disaster. I terminated that deal. And if I didn't terminate, and was very tough after the termination, and if I didn't do that, Howard knows better than anybody. If I didn't terminate that deal, I believe that Israel wouldn't be here right now. And the second one was what we did with respect to the nuclear dust, as I call it, right? We blew it up. The mountain collapsed on top. You can't get to it. And they were 2 weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it on Israel, and I hate to say it, and probably the rest of the Middle East, because they had all those missiles aimed at the Emir, at Saudi Arabia, at UAE, at Kuwait, at Bahrain. I mean, the biggest surprise in this whole thing, I didn't think you guys would, I thought he would aim at Israel, but he didn't aim at Israel, much less. He aimed at your countries. And actually, that was a mistake for them, because it brought us, these countries, in particular the 5 countries, it brought us, I mean, he even hit Turkey once. I never understood it. Nobody's going to understand it. That's the problem. They're totally irrational people. And those people are now gone. And I think Iran has rational leadership now. But you wouldn't have, if it weren't for the United States of America, with me, because Obama was the opposite, Israel would not exist right now. Israel would have been blown off the face of the earth, 100%. And every smart person in Israel knows that. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Yikes. Not good news for Bibi Netanyahu. Not good news whatsoever. But then again, we could be watching another movie. I don't know what this guy's doing. I'm not going to pretend to understand. The only thing I know, he's looking out for our best interest over here. Not Bibi's, not Cutter's, our best interest over here. That I feel 100% confident we can see what he's doing. And again, 2 people in a row, this guy says we're going to put $1 trillion in. Not a single comment. Nothing. Not a word. You have to decipher this stuff for yourself. You now have to understand economically that things that you see in the media, and by now you must know a lot of that stuff is just hogwash, but you cannot expect people to put this kind of money into this country if they didn't expect a good return. What was very interesting today, excuse me, I saw something, and I know many of you know about Harley Davidson. And Harley Davidson, they went woke, and but for some reason, Harley Davidson, let me see if I can find it. Harley Davidson, they decided that they are now moving stuff back here. Let me show this to you. From the U.S. Department of Labor posted this earlier. In case you missed it, manufacturing is pouring back into our country thanks to POTUS. Harley-Davidson just announced they're moving production back to the United States, which is another win for the American worker. And so now it's going to be now made in America. So I don't know if they're trying to save their brand, if they're trying to rebrand, but now Harley-Davidson is coming back to the United States. This stuff doesn't get talked about that much in the media. If you don't see it, if you don't understand it and grasp, wow, man, why are people investing in America? That's what you have to keep asking yourself. If things are so horrible, why are all these companies coming back here? Because we're doing fine. And that puck that I keep talking about, they already know where it's going to. They know that they have at least a couple more years under MAGA, under Trump. And they understand their bread is buttered by taking care of what Trump wants. I don't know if you saw the other day what Mark Zuckerberg did. And I know people, I don't trust Zuckerberg. No, I'm not asking you to trust Zuckerberg. I'm telling you they're kissing the ring. Mark Zuckerberg showed up at the White House at the UFC event. I don't know if you saw him there, but he also is giving free Meta glasses to veterans. Veterans. He's going into, let's go ahead with the American Pride thing. Let me give out these free Meta glasses to veterans. It's all of this is happening, and it could be temporary if we don't reelect either Rubio or JD Vance. But everything else is just going just to plan. I see it. I hope you see it. SV, what you got?
I sent you a couple of clips from JD being on the 5, so I didn't know if I'm getting ahead of you or not, but let me know.
I don't have him on the 5, but I do have him. I do have a
on the spew.
Yeah, and it's once you hear from the View. I like the thing he did in the View this morning because it's different. I have Hannity here, but people are like, I don't care about Hannity. And on the 5, he's going into the home stadium as well. He had an away game this morning, which is different than a normal stump speech. So that's why I looked at it and went, okay, this is a little bit different. What I just said. Good.
Well, I was going to say the one thing that I thought was very interesting. You don't have to show the clip, but JD rips the fact that only 29% of Democrats are proud to be an American, while 90% of Republicans are very or extremely proud. I thought that was extremely telling, which kind of makes sense, right?
Those are the guys that are shooting up and trying to do all kinds of attacks. So that is definitely them.
Brainwashed.
Absolutely.
People. Yes.
But I wanted to show you guys this because I think it's pretty cool when people start seeing what is it that people are seeing in Trump. Why did Mark Zuckerberg do this? Let me just show you this.
Okay.
Zuckerberg, breaking: UFC and Mark Zuckerberg have teamed up to give every blind veteran in America a free pair of Meta glasses. That's a huge investment. Every blind veteran. Why all of a sudden is he looking at things from a patriotic perspective? Here, listen to this.
It is such an honor for me to be here with Don, someone I admire so greatly and someone who our nation owes such a debt of gratitude. He served in Desert Storm in the 82nd Airborne. He lost his eyesight, as you saw, and he has actually advocated for veterans. And he worked with Meta for over a year with our glasses design team to give advice on how to make some of the features even better for blind veterans. And today, Meta and our CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, is so proud to announce that every blind veteran in America, like Don, will receive a pair of Meta glasses that help them, as Don says, regain their independence. And I hope, Ainsley, if you know a blind veteran, if any of your viewers do, they will go to Homes for Our Troops, Tunnel to Towers, the Blind Veterans Association. They're the ones distributing these glasses. And we feel it is just such a small way to thank those who served our country, sacrificed, and we have America for 250 years because of amazing men and women like Don.
I bet you didn't have that on your bingo cards. I bet
did not.
I bet you nobody's like, wait a minute, Zuckerberg is going to start like being patriotic? That, again, it's reading between the lines. Hey, we need to get down with Trump because he's got something.
Yeah.
We got to do something. I just think, regardless of what you think of Facebook and Zuckerberg personally, the fact that they're helping our veterans, that alone deserves a head.
That is cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got something teed up. You got this thing from where he goes after Jessica Tarloff.
Yeah. Well, one other thing, it's extraneous, but I come up extraneous stuff. Do you know anybody like remember the McDonald's had those fried apple pies?
I loved
Remember how
them when
good
I
they
was
were?
younger. I absolutely like.
Guess what?
I would go into McDonald's and order like a bag of those, bring them home in college. I would bring them home and stick them like
Okay.
in the freezer, and then take them out and put them in the microwave when I ever wanted. Oh, but I can't eat them now. But
Well, I'm going to make you happy. I'm going to make you happy. McDonald's is bringing back fried apple pies for the first time in more than 3 decades to honor America's 250th birthday. There you go.
Coincidence?
You might have to have one.
I mean, coincidence?
There
Not
is
at
no
all.
coincidences.
There are no
Never.
coincidences. And again, they wouldn't be doing it if they didn't realize, you know what? This patriotism sells, right? Yeah. Okay.
Money.
Money. And so again,
McRib.
if you read between the lines, you're like, wow, all these companies are coming in, all these countries. Why?
Money.
If the economy sucks so bad, why are they doing all this? And you're talking
Money,
about an
money,
apple
money.
pie. I mean, that has to be disposable income. That's not something you wake up in the morning and go, I need to go get a McDonald's apple pie, you know? So
Can
all right.
people on Snap get those? Never mind.
Oh, you're
right,
mean.
next.
Well, I bet you I bet you if they gave out those apple pies free, it would stop a lot of those fights.
Yeah, right? I mean, I'm posting one a day on there. You saw what I wrote to you, that I had a huge response. I mean, it's everywhere, man. It's everywhere.
The demographic is those apple pies. So maybe we should keep a bag of these apple pies with us just in case anytime we need to like stop one of these fights.
Yeah, throw it at them. Here you go.
Definitely the demographic. Definitely the demographic. All right, so set up this piece with
right.
Greg. What's going on here?
So he just went berserk on the violent left with JD sitting in against Jessica Tarloff. You know her. She's not very smart. So she tried the both sides story. So you can cue that up. It runs for about 2 minutes. So can you bring that up, the actual?
They use the motive. The rhetoric is directly related to the inflammatory rhetoric of the mainstream left, which has become so mundane because you're supporting some asshole with a Nazi tattoo on his chest. This is why liberal outrage has no credibility. I can say bad things about Joy Behar, but no right-wing group is going to go burn down her house. A wrestler can call Michelle a man. I doubt a right-wing group is going to her house in Hawaii, but you do a repetition of demonization about Nazis and fascists and white supremacists. Is it no surprise that Charlie Kirk gets killed? Is it no surprise that Trump gets shot at? Is it no surprise there are these large terror plans that end up being thwarted? We're lucky they got thwarted. By the way, to your answer, the reason why they're always young is because young zealots do the work that old socialists won't. The old socialists will make money writing books about their ideology, but they won't leave the house unless, Bette Midler's playing. These guys buy into their rhetoric, and then they go out and they act out, and then you have the old socialists going, well, these people are stupid. You can look it up. Look up Obama.
I'm happy to look it up. This break is going to be amazing on the Google machine. I'm just saying, there are Melissa Hortman, who was killed, the pipe bomber,
This is my point.
What do you mean, the people shooting up Walmart, kind of rhetoric? Listen to the rhetoric.
Do it side by side. It's one way.
Fascists, communists. That sounds like Donald Trump talking about leftists, calling people vermin, scum. Like, that we're traitors.
You're comparing that to a repetitive rhetoric that's been going on for 10 years where people are called Nazis and deserve to die. That's what conservatives hear every single day. Save it.
Well, I hear terrible things on the show every day.
But that's just from me.
Oh, boo fucking who. Oh, sorry.
There is nothing that she can say to come back from that. Like you said, we can say something about Joy Behar. There's nobody gonna go burn her house down. You guys are the ones that do this stuff. It's
do they hate Nazis or not? I mean, do they love them? Do they hate them? What the hell's going on?
Only certain. You have to qualify the Nazi now. If it's one of their Nazis, everything's okay. Okay, so just understand.
He's reformed. He's better now. Meanwhile, he's out in an outhouse doing a tallywhacker thing.
Yeah, and believe all women except for when they accuse Democrats. Then don't believe them at all because it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's the hypocrisy that they have have is just beyond bounds. So, which is good because this sets up this next piece. So I'm gonna run the.
We're going to the spew.
Here. I'm gonna go to the spew, and I just want.
Well, I need to get my chicken feed.
I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I saw a few people in the chat saying, I can't listen to them. Don't. Listen to how JD handles them. See, because he had to have known I'm walking into the den. I'm walking into the, not lions, but hyena den here. I'm walking into this. And as I'm walking into this, I got to know how I'm going to handle it. And so just watch how he just deflects them. All right, SV, I'm going to go run this right now.
See you shortly.
All right. So hold on and listen. Of course, Whoopi's going to say some crazy stuff. Sonny's going to say some crazy stuff. What's the other one? Anna Navarro. They came in ready. They knew they were going to have him, but they couldn't.
Please welcome author of the new book, Communion, Finding My Way Back to Faith, the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
Okay, first of all, some of you guys are wondering, why would he do this? Now we know. This isn't a normal vice presidential thing. The reason why he's everywhere, the reason why he's on, went to go see Megyn Kelly, because this is a book tour. This is what it's all about. He's selling his new book, which is kind of odd, but he's selling his new book, and he's taking that advantage to go sit in front of these people.
I was surprised at how tall you are. He's very tall.
Well, if you only see somebody on TV, you just see their, in my case, giant head. So it hides how tall I am. That's right.
We are the table of big heads here.
So this is a show of MAGA Republicans, right? That's what my media team told me? Okay, good.
Well, we'll find out. I think you have the first question, Alyssa.
Yes, Mr. Vice President, thank you for being with us. Now, you came into office with clear momentum, but when I talk to my friends and family who supported you and the president and still support you and the president, one issue comes up time and time again, and it's the economy. Inflation's up, wages are down, gas prices are starting to drop at news of this Iran deal, which we will get to.
Sure.
What can you say to voters who trusted you to lower costs on day one, and will they be satisfied by November?
Well, I think that's ultimately up to the voters, right? I think voters have every right to expect as much as possible out of their elected representatives. We certainly know that we were elected on a number of mandates. One was to close the border, which I think we've done successfully, exceeded expectations there. Number two was to lower prices, and there's a lot of work to do, in large part because of what's happened over the last few months in the Middle East. But as you said, oil, which got up to $120 a barrel, now is at $80 a barrel. That's going to be reflected in lower fuel, lower food, lower energy prices. But there's a lot more work to do. The thing that I'm proudest about most, because as some of you may know, I grew up in one of these towns that was forgotten by the leaders in Washington of both parties, is that you're seeing, that's Middletown, Ohio. That's my hometown in southwestern Ohio. It was a proud steel town. I was raised by a grandfather who was a union steel worker, is that those jobs disappeared. Those factories closed down. The thing that I'm most excited about is you do see a large amount of capital investment coming into our country. Factories being built, construction jobs are way up, manufacturing jobs are starting to catch up. So there's a lot more work to do. I think that we're making progress, but ultimately we're going to make our pitch to the voters in November, and they're the ones who get to decide whether we've done a good job or not, and that's how they're going to vote.
Okay.
All right, so that's question number one. Let me know in the chat how you think he handled that. That was kind of an easy one for him to answer, but nonetheless, the economy cannot be as bad as these people make out because of what we talked about earlier.
So President Trump has called affordability a hoax. He said that, not me. He's pouring money into this ballroom of his and the reflecting pool. Oh, don't forget the Arch de Trumpet, I call it, and a White House cage match. All these things. Why is he doing them when you just, everybody knows that Americans are struggling? What is he spending all this money for?
Well, I got to defend the president on the hoax point. What the president said is the idea that Republicans caused the affordability problem is a hoax. And I think that's true. If you go back to the Biden administration, inflation got up to 9% under the Biden administration. Okay, right now it's at 3.5%. By the way, too high. We're doing everything that we can to bring it back down to 2.5%, which is where most people would like to see it. But we inherited an affordability problem. We're doing a lot to make it better. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's a lot more work to do. But the president knows that a lot of Americans are struggling. In fact, he ran on that. He talked about it. And we've done some things and made some good progress on that point.
He just said he loves the inflation.
What he said, Anna, what he said is that he loves the fact that the inflation is going to come down when this war is over.
See, that's one of the things they're not going to be able to do. They're so used to lying to everybody in their audience. Joy Behar lied because no, the fight didn't cost the taxpayers anything. None of the stuff she talked about are taxpayers paying for. The ballroom, nope, not paying for. So they're used to lying. And so then she says, well, he said this, and he had to correct her. Nope, that's not what was said.
What he said.
That's not what he said.
That wasn't a direct. Are you his interpreter or are you his vice president? Come on.
Well, look. What the president said. People were asking about the inflation. They were asking about the affordability problem, which again is very real. And what he said is, "I love the inflation because it's going to come down when the war is over." And now, again, we already see gas prices. Gas prices today, $4.06 a gallon, too high, but way down from where they were just a couple of weeks ago. So there's a lot we got to do, but I think that we're doing as much as we can. We're going to keep on working at it. And again, the American people are going to make their verdict, but I think that we have a very credible case to run on, that we brought a lot of new investment. We're building the factories. That is going to pay serious dividends for the American people over the long haul.
When?
Well, Joy, if you look at manufacturing jobs.
Okay.
Those jobs are increasing at a large number. Construction jobs are doing a little bit better. So what happens is the construction jobs to build the factories, and then the manufacturing workers go back to work. That also leads to rising wages. That's one of the things that I'm very proud of, is if you look at the amount that wages are going up now compared to, say, 2022, they're going up way faster. That's a good thing. The affordability problem. Again, gas, way too high right now. Certain things way too high. Rents have been either flat or down for 12 months now. So there are things that are showing signs of life, things that are showing signs of progress. My view, I'm sure you guys don't agree with it, is that we inherited a mess and we're fixing it. But sometimes it takes a long time to fix a mess.
Sonny.
Okay. Mr. Vice President, according to a new report from the New York Times, you were the leading voice behind the scenes to release the Epstein files, and we applaud you for that. And you warned top officials, including top DOJ officials, at strategy meetings taking place inside the Situation Room. We understand that there are tapes of those meetings, that this was a huge problem for the base. The report says you even floated having Tucker Carlson interview Ghislaine Maxwell to clear the president's name, but you were rebuffed by your people. Why?
Well, I'd say, first of all, don't believe everything that you read in any newspaper, whether it's a right-leaning paper or a left-leaning paper, because as you guys know,
she used the New York Times. She's quoting a New York Times article to the vice president.
Things that are true, things that are false, and things that are totally missing context. Well, here's what I'll say. So, number one, I am, frankly, kind of a conspiracy theory on the Epstein stuff. And that story says that that's one of the things that's true, is that some people called me a conspiracy theory on the Epstein stuff.
Called you a conspiracy
and I love Susie, but absolutely. She thinks I'm a conspiracy theorist on the Epstein stuff, because I think that it's crazy that you have this guy who is clearly a sex predator who is hanging out with a lot of very wealthy and powerful people. Like, that really bothered me. I don't know what's there, of course. Nobody knows exactly what happened unless you were there, but that really bothered me. And I wanted to have full transparency. What I disagree with is the idea that the White House wasn't committed to full transparency. We have to remember, I was inside the room when some of these decisions were made. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, the one that the president signed, the one that led to all these files that we're seeing, the emails. By the way, again, sorry, Joe, I do have to defend my boss. I know you guys don't always appreciate this, but, one of the things you see in the Epstein emails is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police. That's one of the things that came out of these files.
See how she quickly interrupted him? See, I loved what happened here. Even though most of us don't like anything to do with The View, he's setting the record straight. He's in front of their studio audience telling them, you think they've heard before that President Trump was the one who talked to the police about Jeffrey Epstein? You think that has been told to them? Hell no. They don't. Whoa, what do you mean? President Trump was the one who turned him in? Yes. And so she had to try and stop him right away.
Friends for about a decade. And remember, he signed that Transparency Act under duress when some Republican women, congresswomen like Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, did not give in to his pressure of not signing. He brought Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to pressure her into caving on not voting for that bill.
So let me respond to that. So
that's all true.
Let me respond to that. So number one is, yes, Donald Trump, and he said this, he knew Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1980s. He also threw Jeffrey Epstein out of his club when he found out he was a creep and reported him to the police. That's something that the media often misses when it reports this story. They tell the fact that they knew each other in the 80s, which the president himself admits. They ignore the fact that he narked on him to the police and led ultimately to JeffreyEpstein's downfall. To that point, Anna, you know the Republican Party. Well, it's one of the things that led to law enforcement investigation. But on the point that you made,
it was allegedly over a real estate deal that they got into a fight over.
But the email says actually
they didn't just know each other. Let's just be truthful and transparent.
You know, this is what bothered me. I'm glad he handled it well, is because I would never think or put myself in a position where I'm trying to talk over the vice president of the United States. This doesn't go well for them. As you're seeing it, everybody else saw it, and you can see they're trying to stop him from talking.
They didn't just know each other.
He's in a lot of
they were incredibly close friends.
He reported him to the police. That's what I'm saying. That is objective. That is objectively true. But Anna made another point that I think Whoopi, if I may, because Anna made a very important point. This question about, did Donald Trump release these files only under duress from Republicans? And Anna, you know the Republican Party probably better than I do. The idea that Donald Trump runs around afraid of Republican congressmen as opposed to the other way around is kind of crazy.
What was the bipartisan? It was Republicans and Democrats.
But because the Republicans control the House and the Senate, particularly the Senate, you need the Republican sign off. What the president did is, look, I will say this again. I was in there in the meetings. He was very frustrated that the Democrats were making this about him when he's like, look, I threw the guy out of my club. I am the guy who reported him to the police, or one of the people who reported him to the police. The president was frustrated about that, absolutely. But he eventually came to say, you know what, let's just get everything out there. Let's have this out in the public. And he actually called the senators. I was there. He called the senators and said, you know what, pass this bill, I'll sign it. And that was it.
Well, then let me follow up briefly. Let me follow up briefly.
Yes.
It sounds like you believed that there would be men in the files who would be held accountable. Rightfully so. And the American people are with you on this. Why haven't we seen the release of over 2.5 million additional Epstein file documents? It seems like you are someone that is on the right side of history on this.
So we have released, I think it's 6 million files or 6 million pages of documents. My understanding is the 2.5 million, Sonny, I'm going to check on this to make sure, but my understanding is that a lot of those are duplicates of things that have already been released.
So we're not
holding anything back. Some of those things are like the courts have to order you to release them. So that was one thing that we confronted. You talk about this situation in meetings is, you know, there's a big bunch of files that existed, I think in the Southern District of New York, or maybe it was some other jurisdiction. But we were like, we want to release these files, but you need the court approval in order to release the files. Sometimes we would apply to release the files and the courts would say no. So those particular documents, I would need to actually know exactly what you're talking about.
3.5 million documents were released, and my understanding is 2.5 million have not been released.
Those may have been the ones that are under court. I don't know what the documents you're talking about, but I'm telling you,
let me go to break.
Sure.
Let me go to break. Because people are looking at me. Going.
And let's talk about the book. I'm here to sell books. Communion. Buy my book, please.
Eventually we will, but this is a good opportunity for us to get some clarity on stuff.
Great.
We'll be back with more with Vice President J.D. Vance.
You've seen the headlines. Big banks are predicting gold could climb over $6,000 an ounce, with silver going as high as $300 an ounce. The news is finally catching up to what I've known for years. The value of the dollar is under assault, and the demand for gold and silver is absolutely exploding. But who you trust matters just as much as what you buy. That's why I trust Lear Capital. They're an education-first company that prioritizes customer experience over a quick sale. And because of that, Lear has thousands of satisfied customers, over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and was named the best overall gold IRA company by Consumer Affairs. If you're considering gold and silver, call the best in the business and the company Robin and I personally trust, that being Lear Capital. Call today for your free investor kit and ask how you can qualify for up to $20,000 in bonus gold. Call 800-601-5430, or as you see on the screen, go to learberry.com.
Back with Vice President J.D. Vance. Sarah, you got the question.
Yes, Mr. Vice President, in your new book, Communion, you write about your personal evolution with faith from evangelical to atheist to Catholic convert. And you also explain your evolution similarly on Trump, from calling him America's Hitler to America's best hope. Now, as someone who has admitted to chasing ambition, which you write about in the book in the past, but now says your faith brought you back to your priorities, I have to kind of use your own words that sit with me from 2016.
Sure.
Fellow Christians, everyone is watching when we apologize for this man. Lord, help us. And I think about that all the time because as a fellow Christian, that is something that weighs on my heart as I watch this country and the leadership at the top, because it's also something I have to explain to my kids, which I know we also share, this idea that our greatest privilege and responsibility are these young people we're raising.
Of course.
So help me find the words to explain to my children what they're witnessing right now.
Well, you know, first of all, it's been well covered that I was a critic of Donald Trump back in 2015 and 2016. Now, obviously, I'm sitting here as the Vice President of the United States in the Trump administration. Well, Joy, a little humility, actually. I think that when you make predictions and those predictions turn out to be false, you got to ask yourself, well, what made me wrong about that? What did I not understand or not appreciate? For example, I said that Donald Trump's economic policies would not lead to wage growth. They did in the first term. That was actually a major thing. I said that we couldn't bring back any of those factory jobs because I kind of had given into this idea that those jobs were disappearing. But actually, Donald Trump, you saw a manufacturing boom during that administration.
So there's a certain point. Let me just this question.
So there's a certain point where you say, you know, I made predictions about this. I ended up being wrong. Yeah. And in politics and anything, I think it's important to just say, you know what? I got some things wrong, and I was wrong about him. He was a very successful president. It's one of the reasons why I've been so supportive of him.
You go on in the book to explain that good policy was maybe one of your justifications, but the quote, and when you tweeted that or X'd it, was not about policy. It was what Christians were willing to excuse. And that's the part I can't get past. What are you willing to excuse in the name of power?
Well, I would say fundamentally that one of the things I underappreciated about Donald Trump is that so many of the things that people said about him weren't actually true. Again, you talk about humility. Okay, so I see Donald Trump, I see a clip of him, or I see not even a clip of him, but reporting about something that he said, and I take it at face value. For example, let's just go back to one of the most controversial things Donald Trump said during the first term that I was wrong during the first campaign, is that I was led to believe by the stories. I read stories that said Donald Trump said that all Mexicans were rapists. He never said that. What he said is that the certain South American countries, Central American countries, were releasing criminals into our country, including Mexico. By the way, that was objectively true. So,
all right, so you got to wonder right there, again, how many of the people sitting in that studio audience have actually had that clarified, that President Trump didn't say that? The people on The View, those women, they didn't say that. They didn't clarify it. J.D. Vance just did. So there may be a few people there went, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I've been lied to.
It's not so much Christians.
Fidel Castro did that in 1980 with the Mariel boat lift. There have been many journalists, including CNN, where you used to work and be my colleague, that have tried to find evidence of that. There is no evidence that Maduro was releasing people from insane asylums or jails like Fidel Castro did do. This was made up, and we just can't, accept it without pushing back.
Anna, we know that there were people who were released from prisons who were encouraged to come into the United States.
It wasn't like it was in the Mariel Mr. Vice President. It wasn't where it was like a purposeful release, open up the jails, open up the insane asylums, and let people flood Florida. I lived through that in Miami.
If you go, it may not have been like Marielle, but if you go back to the caravans that were happening in 22, 23, we know that those things were funded. They were in some ways supported by the government.
There was absolutely.
So I don't know how you define support or not support, but if people are encouraged to come into our country after having spent time in prison by their own governments, I think that's a problem.
Well, Vice President, can I just add one more thing? Because you do.
She had nothing to say. She was trying to say, notice how she kind of changed. Well, it wasn't a whole lot. You know, it was a few. Bottom line, you released criminals into our country. Why did you not ask Joe Biden why he allowed it?
Speak about immigration at length in this book.
Sure.
And I believe as a Christian, I can tell my kids why it's important to have borders. I get that. There are laws, there are resources. I get all that things. It's much harder to explain when I see someone dragged out of a house or wrongly taken to a thing that isn't a violent criminal. It's a little more nuanced as a parent to try to say when someone's referred to as vermin or scum, when I teach them in school about people that have done that before, but this is different. It's very hard as a parent and a Christian to say both things.
And you actually say in the book, you talk about this, struggle, this internal struggle in the book, and you talk about moral trade-offs that result in favoring a strict migration policy without dehumanizing anyone. But listen, over 50 people have died in ICE custody. There are thousands of children, 6,200, that are being held in places like Dilley Detention Center. The people that have visited those detention centers, I don't know if you have, talk about the subhuman, infrahuman conditions, the lack of clean water, the lack of medical attention, the lack of education. I would urge you as a Christian and as a father to visit those detention centers where the children are being held and make sure that the conditions are up to the values that we hold in this country.
So you guys have thrown a lot at me, and I see we got 30 seconds left here. But let me say, number one,
Vice President, you can go long.
I'd like to pick up on this theme because I think it's really important. We do have to strike a balance, of course, between enforcing our laws. We don't want to dehumanize people. That is the balance that, look, law enforcement, what I'd say about this, law enforcement is always inherently not a very pretty process, especially when you're dealing sometimes with violent people, with people who are resisting arrest. Some of the people that I've been told by the media were completely peaceful, had never violated any laws. You actually look into the record and you find out that those people were actually being violent, or they did have a criminal record. They had a sex trafficking conviction.
Don't have criminal records. So the majority of people that ICE is rounding up and taking out of their homes from their families, they're separating families. They're using children as bait. But the majority are not criminals.
But can I respond to that, guys? Let me just say this. Okay. So you talk about the children. Here's what I'd say. Do we know that during the last administration, we had tens of thousands of children who were sex trafficked by the cartels, who were brought into our country in profoundly dangerous and predatory conditions?
Let's talk about this administration.
But here's the point. Unless you enforce the border, you invite that kind of conduct. You think that our immigration policies are inhumane based on the reporting of one person with a political bias. What I'm telling you is that it's inhumane to allow cartels to sex traffic people across our border.
And by the way,
please hold on.
I appreciate that. We're going to get you back, Anna.
We're coming back with more with the Vice President, and I've got questions for you.
Great. Thank you.
Hey, listen, let me tell you about another one of our sponsors today is the Tax Network. Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? Or have you filed every year, but you still keep owing more money? Did you retire and suddenly get hit with a tax bill you didn't expect? Are you a business owner with messy books and a balance sheet, balance of debt that you can't afford? Maybe you pulled money from your 401k or your IRA early, and now the IRS wants its share, your fair share. However your tax issue started, the outcome is the same. Your balance is not going to go down. Penalties grow, interest compounds, and many of you who are in this situation are about to owe again for the next tax year if you don't do something, and right now to plan on it. Stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA. The IRS is not waiting. The IRS, despite all the people who aren't getting paid in other divisions, the IRS is out there enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, and property seizures. They can even file for you without your consent. This is where Tax Network USA comes in. With over 15 years in business, there hasn't been a tax case they haven't seen or resolved successfully. They specialize in tax controversies and help taxpayers nationwide get back on track by resolving back taxes and unfiled returns once and for all. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, hopefully not, their team has resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. They can do the same for you. You have to call them. They are offering a free investigative call with the IRS. After that investigation, they put a clear case plan in place to resolve your tax problem and get you back on track. This is about using your legal rights to take control before the government sets the terms for you. Don't wait for another IRS letter or a frozen bank account. You're going to go to tnusa.com/Barry and see if they can get you some help.
We are back with Vice President J.D. Vance. Sir, you come from a poor community.
Sure.
You know how hard it has been for people. Two things. You talk a lot about your Catholic faith, but the Catholic faith says we take in immigrants. We take in people who don't have or who are having a hard time. How do you justify both things?
So let me say first a couple things, Whoopi. So number one, the book is actually way less political than you might think if you were just watching this, because obviously we're getting into the issues of the day. Right. 95% of the book is really not about politics. I kind of have to write about politics because I'm the vice president, but I want to answer your question. Right. So fundamentally, if you think about what is immigration enforcement, immigration is law enforcement. It's somebody who has broken a law. A law enforcement officer has to show up and enforce that law. Mm-hmm. Now, inherently, sometimes that process is not always going to be pretty if you capture a video clip of it, in the same way that if you arrest somebody for committing a violent or a nonviolent crime, sometimes it's not always pretty. What I'm saying is the Catholic faith is actually I think it strikes the right balance here. Mm-hmm. It says, the Christian faith, I think this is true of Protestants and Catholics, that you can have borders. Yeah. You're allowed to enforce your borders. That means the law enforcement piece of it. But you also have to take certain precautions and certain care, okay? And again, your argument is fundamentally, Whoopi, you're saying that we don't strike the right balance. I disagree with you about how we apply that, but nobody hopefully is saying we're not allowed to have a border. No, what I'm saying is that in order for us to actually enforce the law, you can't set a standard that says you're not allowed to deport anyone unless they've committed a violent crime. You've got to enforce the law equally.
So let me do my...
So I just want to tell you guys something, what Whoopi did right there. Hey, here's some homework for you. If you have never looked up, if you've never read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, I urge you to go check that out. Rules for Radicals. I think it's number 4. I could be wrong. I'll look it up when we go back. But one of the rules for radicals is use your faith, use your rules against you. So, hey, listen, you said the Bible says this, but why aren't you doing it? And so she's using his own faith against him. And they will do the same thing to you. You're not supposed to hit back. You're supposed to turn the other cheek. They know enough to and they've been taught. That's why it's called Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. Go look it up. I'll check it out and see if I can find it as well.
Follow up.
You don't have to raise your hand.
Let me do my follow up.
Yes, I do.
Because you were talking about people. What did black people do to this administration that has allowed it?
All right, so I gotta preface this. You're gonna love this. She starts spouting a whole bunch of BS, and he kind of looks at her, and he calls her on it, which that never happens on this television show. And she's got literally no answer.
To really stigmatize folks of color. And you know how hard it is. You have folks of color in your family.
Sure.
So when you see, things, the Emmett Till stuff coming down, or them doing all kinds of removal of information of black heroes, how does that sit with you?
Well, what exactly are you talking about, Whoopi? Because you just, I know Emmett Till was a kid. No, I want to know what she's.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
To your actual point.
So in a lot of the museums, there's so many. Where they're taking down.
If there's so many, just tell him. He caught her right there. She had no idea what the hell she's talking about. All these things you're doing to black people, like what? Help somebody.
The actual history that happened in this country. Slavery happened. All kinds of stuff happened. And it seems that it has been very easy for this administration to remove that and also to denigrate black folks who have worked their behinds off to get this American dream. How do you, I mean, you know better.
So Sonny, that was actually a very helpful intervention, because I think the story you're talking about is where, allegedly the administration is holding back the appointments of people based on skin color. I've seen the story.
I'm talking about a host of things. I'm talking about black history getting erased from.
Now they're just, it's almost like they realize at this point, he got us. We're completely defeated. Now let's just make stuff up in the little bit of time that we have left. Gonna go real quick here. I want to show you this, the rules for radicals. You can look it up, but here, where's I said number 4, didn't I? Yep, there it is, number 4. I can't believe I remembered that. Rule number 4, make the enemy, which is us, live up to its own book of rules. If the rule is that every letter gets a reply, send 30,000 letters. You can kill them with this because no one can possibly obey all of their own rules. This is a serious rule. The besieged entity, very credibility and reputation is at stake, because if activists can catch it lying or not living up to its commitment, they can continue to chip away at the damage. It is a very, very, evil group of rules here. And if you read all 12 of these rules, if you read these 12 rules and you start recognizing what the media does, what the activists do, what the Democrats do, what the television hosts do, it's all founded in this document. All 12 of these. Maybe I should go over it tomorrow. Leave it in the chat if you want me to go over all 12 of these rules, because it is simply amazing what this commie has done and how, I think one of his biggest students was Hillary Clinton. She admits, I love Saul Alinsky. Those are the rules.
Public spaces, black voter districts are being dismantled. Black leaders are being sidelined from our ranks. Where do Americans of color fit in this vision? Because it doesn't seem like we fit.
I think, Sonny, my view,
I gotta believe that was an auto button to make people applaud, because that was complete BS.
And if I may, since October of last year, there's been something like 6,668 refugees allowed into the country. All but 3 were white South Africans.
So, first of all, I'm very skeptical of that number, because we have a lot of different immigration pathways in the United States of America. But let me just address Whoopi's point. Look, first of all, you asked the question, and maybe you don't believe this coming from me, but I think everybody is welcome in our political coalition. Frankly, even if you didn't vote for us, everybody is welcome in our country, so long as you're an American citizen with the duties and the legal obligations and rights to be here. But Whoopi, let me just give you an example of this. Okay, so you say that we're anti-minority or anti-black.
No, I didn't say that. I asked. See?
Well, okay, fine. Be fair.
Don't start any stuff with me, man. Don't get me in trouble. Don't start no stuff with me. But
I misinterpreted your question, but let me answer your actual question there. What I'm saying, I think, okay, look at Washington, D.C. One of the most democratic and one of the blackest, by share of population, blackest cities in the United States of America, has seen a radical decrease in violent crimes and sexual assaults and in murders. We have tried to take the crime issue seriously, in part because we believe everybody, whether you're black or white or rich or poor, deserves to live in a safe neighborhood.
Why does the crime? Where does the crime step in? This is not about crime. This is about
women lost their jobs.
Right. This is about human
Sonny,
rights.
what you're saying is We got to do more on the economy.
And Black history has been erased from public spaces.
Black history is not erased from public spaces.
We do have to get to a
I love how he came back at her. You're an idiot. Black history hasn't been erased. And she's like, it's true. They weren't prepared for this. They got challenged directly to their faces.
When we get back, there's some very important
guys,
news
I'm telling you, we celebrate Black history. We celebrate all American history in this administration. You guys might be skeptical of this, but I promise you it's true.
I have to go to break. Anna, God, please, we have more with Vice President J.D. Vance when we come back. Don't do that. We're back with Vice President J.D. Vance. Joy has the next question.
Okay, so in the book, Mr. Vice President, you make a mea culpa of sorts for calling Democrats childless cat ladies.
Oh, man.
Okay?
My most boneheaded comment.
You say that in the book, that it was boneheaded, which it was.
Thank you.
What were you thinking when you said that?
So Joy said when we were off air that I'm fine, which I think is about the best endorsement that I'm going to get out of Joy Behar for a Republican. Thank you. I appreciate that. Graded on a curve here at The View. But, you know, I guess one of the things that I try to do, and I'm always, you know, all of us are always learning. You know, you said you were a lapsed Catholic. I'm a bad Catholic. I think all of us, that's why we need grace as Christians, is because we recognize that there are certain things we got to work on.
Right.
But here's what I'd say about that. So did that comment actually shed light on something and start a discussion, or did it just close people down? And when I make a comment that just closes people down, instead of trying to appreciate the point that I make, that's a mistake, right? And that's on me to do better.
Okay,
because can I just say, the point that I'd say on that, Joy, is I do think, in a very subtle sometimes in a more profound way, I think our country has become more anti-family and more anti-child. It's harder to travel. It's harder to go to a restaurant.
Mr. Vice President, you know your grandchild is arriving.
No grandbabies yet.
Not yet. We're very excited for you and Usha, and we wanted to give you a view once.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for your time.
We will put this on. We'll send you guys a photo.
His new book, Communion, Finding My Way Back to Faith, is available now. Scan the QR code on your screen to purchase a copy, and we will be right back.
Thank you, guys.
So how do y'all think JD did? I think he did very, very, very well. And I think he exposed them as being complete idiots. And in fact, that when you know, the office of the presidency, the office of the vice presidency, it holds a certain regard. You just can't interrupt him every 2 seconds and then basically try to call him a liar to his face. And poor Sonny, she got the slap back. She got slapped back a couple of times. SV said, "Hey man, play the slap." I'm like, okay, I missed it when she did it. because he slapped her back, and Whoopi pretty much shut down. At that point, she had nothing to say because, hey, what are you talking about? Oh, there's so many. Give me one. Got nothing. Got absolutely nothing. So anyway, I hope you guys were okay with that. I wanted to play it because I think JD did a great job. And if you see clips of it online, you may not get the entire context, which I think is important as well. And I saw a lot of you guys said, you know, hey, go ahead and talk about Alinsky's rules for radical. I did a video a long time ago. I have to find it. It's in my archives about his rules and how Hillary Clinton and everybody. I'll find it and I'll show it to you guys tomorrow. SV, how you doing? As before we get out of here, anything else going on?
I was doing this while you were like walking. Oh my gosh, man, he's so. You know, he's a lawyer. He used to be a lawyer, I guess, but he's so eloquent. And I think I mentioned to you, I think, you know, his IQ is so much higher than the rest of that table, which was evident. So I really didn't have to go there. I sent you 2 stories. One was from Bobby Kennedy. He confirmed a great stat, which is encouraging. The second from the bottom.
Okay, what you got?
There it is. All right. So, yeah, Bobby Kennedy just confirmed an American obesity just dropped for the first time in 50 years under President Trump.
Wow.
So he said, since President Trump came into office, obesity rates in this country have dropped by 2.5%.
Wow.
That's the first drop in 50 years. And that drop alone will have significant impacts, obviously, on healthcare costs in this country because obesity drives about 80% of chronic disease. So
Wow.
I'm thinking it might have something to do with a lot of those millions are not on SNAP right now. So that might be part of it.
You're absolutely
Seriously, I'm not joking.
Yeah, I believe that as well. Also, they made them start labeling certain things. They took the color from out of some of those foods, so they don't look so appealing anymore. So there's a lot of different things. Just mentally, you look at something that's not appealing. So that's definitely good news. And so, what's the other one? What's the other one?
The other one is John Thune.
I don't want.
Well, it's 49 seconds long, but it's 40. I don't know.
So sick of this guy. Does it give us any good information in it?
Oh, he basically thinks, he goes, we're doing everything we can, but it's math. We're bound by arithmetic. What? Like, you could actually play and he'll say everything that I would have read.
All right, let me go ahead and play it. I'm downloading it real quick here.
All right, people got to know. I mean, it's cover the good and the bad. This guy is worthless.
No, he's nutless. Let's just call it that. He's completely nutless. All right, so this is John Thune, who was just recently on Brett Baer's show.
Yeah.
On conversations with him, how does this go over? Because the way he types it in his True Social post, it's pretty aggressive. He thinks you should be doing more.
And he's passionate about it, and we are doing everything that we can, but it is a function of math. I mean, we are bound by arithmetic in the United States Senate. The votes currently aren't there. We will continue to put the Democrats on the record and insist on votes on this. But if you tried to attach it, for example, to FISA, it would tank FISA. And so, we will move, once we get Clayton done, we'll move to FISA, try to get the Democrat coalition back together so we can actually pass that and put it on the president's desk. But, and we will look for votes, additional opportunities to get votes on the SAVE Act.
What about housing? You've got a deal potentially.
Ay.
Notice he didn't mention breaking the filibuster. Why don't you stop the filibuster? And then it's only 50. Are you telling me we don't even have 50? Is that what he's saying? Well, Murkowski, Collins better do whatever Trump needs right now. Collins has got to go up against that Nazi, so she better do what she has to. So you got Murkowski, Collins, Rand Paul, and who'd be the other Republican that hasn't been playing ball? I'm not really sure.
Massey?
No, he's in the House. It'd be another senator. I'm not sure who that other senator would be, but man, they're just.
But Thune basically he's like an empty puppet. I wouldn't be surprised if he came out tomorrow and go, I'm going to become a Democrat. Seriously, he's acting like one.
And somebody asked a good question as well. This is from Pam. She said, "Why not fire the parliamentarian?" Don't know that either. Well, this guy is obviously paid for. He is paid opposition, and he's there to just muck up the waters. I mean, McConnell. That's who it is. Somebody said McConnell. So it's McConnell, Murkowski, Rand Paul, and Susan Collins are probably the four that aren't going to do it. But then again, McConnell, you notice how
Isn't he in the hospital?
You notice how they hushed that story up. Nobody's talking about it.
I think he's in a coma. I mean, even when he was like walking around, he was in a coma.
But the Republicans aren't talking about it. The Democrats aren't talking. This guy is seemingly untouchable. Where is he? What did he go to the hospital for? Is he still there? I don't know. That'd be something. I'll dig into that tonight if he's still there.
Poor turtle.
Yeah, if he's still in the hospital. But then again, we get screwed because probably in Kentucky, the governor gets to name his replacement. The governor is a Democrat. It's all screwed up. I
mean, we need term limits here. I mean, you got Pelosi falls down, she gets a new hip. You got, these guys. I mean, and then that purple-haired one. I think somebody said she's like 280 years old or something now. I don't know. She's
from
witch.
Connecticut. Yeah, she's from Connecticut.
Yeah. Yikes!
Unreal.
What a crazy show this is.
Oh man. All right. So
well, that's all I have for the evening.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to do super chats now, and
hey, folks.
We'll see everybody. I didn't know today was going to go 3 hours as well, but I guess with all the talk, it lasted that long. So thank you for your time again, and let me do the super chats, and let's get the heck out of Dodge here if I can get everything. Thanks, man. All right, let me get super chats set up so we can all go through this. As you guys know, I always recognize them after the show. 1 second here, just getting everything set so I can show you guys. And here we go. Good, cool. Pekovsky went to Costco today, North Avenue in Cumberland. I was told they're not carrying American flags anymore. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's incredible. Dr. Ruth Bryant, I would turn my children in if they are wrong. Yeah, it would hurt. She's talking about the guy who was planning the terrorist attack. It would hurt a lot, but Brad, I hope JD investigates John Thune. Something stinks. Something stinks really, really bad. Chiosop, soft on crime, prosecutors keep letting them go so they feel emboldened. They may have been told by organizers not to worry and that they will walk. Possibly. Chiosop, he yelled Nazi. I didn't see Graham, what's his name, Plattner there but yeah. You hear the thunder? Oh, it's coming again. We call it Thunder 30. What about this time? We always have thunderstorms. That's a toes wreath. Hey, thank you very much. Oh, let me give you a quick heads up for that one. Aloha, Barry, Robin, Ashley, and the mods. Thank you for all the hard work, content, and insights as per my emails. Acknowledge you have changed my life. Thank you. I'm going to be reading that to people as well. You also have my details for the hat I won. Yep. They have gone out. You guys should be the first one you see will be Pekovsky. He will tell everybody he's got his. Cutting edge. The gas here in North Jersey from yesterday got down $3.98 to $3.89 today. 10 cents in 1 day. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Judy, thanks, Barry. As always, good show. Thank you. Buddy, yes, go over the rules tomorrow, the Saul Alinsky rules. I'll do that. Chiosop, that they will ever get reelected with Save America. Yep, that's on the right as well. Both Beaufort, look into the city of London and their tentacles and everything. Eye-opening, should be discussed more. That's very interesting. And lastly, Mr. Fisher or Miss Fisher, SCOTUS is supposed to be a lifelong term, not our corrupt politicians. They didn't get the message. Nope. Whoa, that's some big lightning, big thunder. All right, so I'm going to jump to the after party because I don't know how long this thing will be on. They might go poof and be done. Thank you guys for tuning in.
you.